Sports Center.
It's almost here. Conference championship weekend as the Chiefs head up to Baltimore in a battle of two players or quarterbacks that have never met in the playoffs before. Mahomes, Jackson, Sunday here, San Antonio Sports Star. Your NBA All-Star starters have been announced. LBJ, 20 years. I smell a goat. Maybe.
This Sports Center update is brought to you by Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 100% satisfaction guarantee.
This is R&R in the morning.
Man in motion, handoff, Pollard coming right. Bang, zoom, touchdown Cowboys.
Yama about 3 feet behind the line. Got it.
It's R&R in the morning with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. It's Rob and RJ. You survived the week. You made it to Friday. Congratulations. Good morning, RJ Ochoa, the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, and Giannis the Freak fan. Good morning, Vince. How are y'all?
Hey, happy January 26, 2024. Nobody in the history of this radio station has ever said those words out loud.
Never. And it probably, well, it will never happen again.
Are you sure? That's
Well,
not a guarantee.
No, not at that time.
It can be said again. It just may not make as much sense.
That's very true. Speaking of making sense, there is none to be made today. It's Friday.
Did you see we got like massive worldwide sports news like 30 minutes ago? Did you see this?
Did it have something to do with the AO?
No,
As they call it around my house?
It did not. Although Novak, what's going on, bro? I mean,
He's old.
you know,
The Aussies don't really like. Remember, they wouldn't even let him into country last year or a couple years ago.
it was like 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, I watched Breakpoint. I know.
You
it's
talking
not-
about the huge coaching news that is rippling around the earth that Jurgen Klopp will not be returning to Liverpool? I mean, I can
That's-
barely stand it.
Okay, well, it's not that he won't be returning. He won't be back after this Premier League season. This overall season for this was almost you. A couple of days ago, you pledged allegiance to a Premier League club.
It could have been
an English soccer club, and this could have been you. Man, think about how close you were to being utterly devastated today. And you're welcome.
Luckily, I skated through. Hey, we want to say good morning to all those hanging around out at the rodeo barbecue cook-off. The chefs du jour, Vince out there and a lot of others. Congratulations. Celebrate appropriately. Looking at some fine meat. We're almost to the rodeo. I live outside of 1604 off of Babcock, out that direction. And the north, I guess that's north side. The Gerlach livestock area has been busy the last couple of days for the what was it when you're FFA, you're going to the show? They have the auctions and all that going on, so rodeo is imminent around here. Which means the Spurs are going to be hitting the road soon enough, too.
FFA, not my scene. My wife was an FFA person. That's an exclusive club. You know what I mean?
I wish I had been.
That's the only thing I can really offer in this conversation.
I don't think my high school had FFA. If it did, I didn't know anything about it. And I never saw anybody. It's entirely possible. You didn't know the high school I went to. South San West Campus, shout out. We might have had FFA. I know I never saw a blue jacket. I can tell you that. No one had those.
Well,
it's unfortunate.
It's never too late.
I'd have raised a pig.
You could find some level of FFA involvement even as an adult. I'm certain there are clubs.
I have chickens.
Communities.
I have chickens.
Yeah.
I'm living out my dream. Well, my father has chickens. I get to look at them and eat the eggs.
Yeah, but you're not competing with them like the way you would be in FFA. If you want some juice involved, we could find something. You know what I mean?
It's not a competition. It's an exhibition. They're all winners.
Okay. All right. So it's going to be that kind of show today. We're all winners. Everybody's great.
Hey,
stop being mean to the Spurs.
Yesterday,
blah, blah, blah.
Did you hear Sean Elliott yesterday on the Blitz?
I did.
Wow.
My dial is always set. I listen to everything.
Wow is all I have to say.
WOW.
He was very honest and kind of reinforced some of the things we've noticed. It's good to see on the inside that, there's plays they can't even run. That they just don't know how to do it.
You said he was honest. I mean, I was going to say, did he tell a lie? Which, but I mean, it's one of those, something like that is also frustrating. And not that Sean is frustrating, but it's just like, well, if we all know and we all agree, let's just do something.
What exactly is the hindrance to moving on? And I think that'll be a worthy conversation. As the all-star starters were announced, of course, no Spurs involved. But
that's why
LeBron just reached his 20th. That's the first time anybody's ever done that as a starter, though I'm not sure he's really a starter. He's not even the best front court guy on his team. But that being said, he did it 20 years. And I'll tell you, I'm Mr. Jordan. I mean, he will forever and always be the finest basketball player I ever witnessed. But it's getting harder and harder to argue. I mean, it really is.
We can appreciate both. We don't have to.
Yeah, but as a sports talk guy, it has to be one or the other.
I mean, it's Jordan. There's no doubt about it. But we can also appreciate the incredibly long and sustained career of supreme excellence. It's a different kind of greatness, but not the ultimate greatness.
Sustained versus mercurial would be my way. Surprising hires in the head coaching world. As Bill Belichick remains unemployed, Atlanta goes in a direction that, in hindsight, Raheem Morris is a good hire. I think that's been, but universally everybody's saying it's been a long time in coming. I hadn't thought about Raheem Morris since he was in the unfortunate Tampa Bay destruction days.
Yeah, I mean, he's experienced a glow up with LA, but I mean, if Raheem Morris had gotten hired by the Panthers as opposed to Dave Canales, I think everybody's like, oh, awesome. But it's just, you're the guy that they picked over Bill Belichick, and that there's an air about that that's really difficult.
You're going to have to hit the ground running.
And we're, in the game of musical chairs, it seems like Bill could be left, seatless.
And we're going to talk about why. I wonder how we've gotten to here. And, there's a couple jobs still left. And the other one that was filled yesterday, a guy named Canales, who's made his bones with Baker, but more of a collegiate type. To me, while it's a sexy hire and everybody's like, who the hell is Dave Canales? It just kind of more as a representation to me that there's not a lot of guys that want to work for Tepper.
No, and he received a 6-year deal, which is generally an indication of
nobody else.
It's going to take a little bit. Yeah, like this is going to take some time. I'm willing to pay this dude to come live here, and we'll figure. I mean, it's not a bad place to live. What I mean? They got Targets, they got Chipotle's. I mean, they'll be fine. But yeah,
that's a very interesting hire that represents a lot of different things. Is where I'll go with that. I'm not there.
2 openings left.
Yeah, and all the usual suspects are still there. We had 2 jobs fall.
And it's not expected that they'll have an answer by the weekend, but it's also not expected that they'll hire Bill Belichick. So again, you could be looking at a Belichick-less 2024 season. And he's the new Sean Payton, just anytime the Cowboys lose a game, oh man.
Belichick will be the Grim Reaper hanging over the top in a black hood with the sleeves cut off, of course.
Right. Palpatine style. Wow. Maybe you know what, Rob? I realized it now as we've been speaking. He knew, and he therefore understands Jurgen Klopp is out. He's going a different football route, Belichick is.
The lasso route.
Right. He's going, well, yeah, exactly. Quite literally. So he's going to coach football with the U. All right. Not Miami.
There you go. That's what they're known as, the U?
Yeah. Are you just now learning this?
You're talking about Miami.
Yeah.
Why would he be at Miami?
I said he's going to go coach football with the U.
Oh,
we're talking about, yeah. And I said, not Miami.
I'm sorry. I got lost in the update. We're going to talk Cowboys with Saad Yousuf. He'll be back with all of his, what's that?
Why would he go to Miami?
Why? I was like, that's an interesting hire, but I'm not against it. Saad was here last week. He'll be here again this week. And he's coming today with a particular purpose. To cheer you up. He's here to make you, Cowboy fan, feel better about yourself. Things to look forward to and be happy about going on up there at the beautiful Star up there in Frisco. Above and beyond the literal fire hose of money that is spraying all over that place. There's still reasons to be relatively excited. There's a lot of Cowboys still up for awards. I don't know if they're worthy or not. We'll talk about that.
That's what I was about to say. There are 4 finalists on the Cowboys for varying awards. I wrote an article with this news at bloggingtheboys.com, and I included a poll at the very end and said, which one do you think, should win or is most deserving to win? And at the bottom, I included, because, we live in a democracy. At the bottom, I included an option, none should win.
Which is awful, man.
Well, and so this is a poll on a website that mostly Dallas Cowboys fans read.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be surprised to learn what the majority of people voted. I'll just leave it at that.
Cowboy
people
fan.
Are pissed off.
Fickle.
People want blood.
Fickle. I can get why Terrence Parsons. Is it Terrence Parsons?
He's
right.
He is calmed down a little bit on Twitter.
Well, don't let him go see this poll.
Well, he's coming after Dallas Cowboys fans.
Come on, bring it, Terrence. You might be right.
Yeah, Terrence has had enough. Now that Terrence has gotten the legal jargon out of the way, to like
the views of my brother.
He's like, now that he's been freed to just speak his mind, and it's very clear and obvious he speaks for himself. Now he's just like completely going off. Now that the takes machine is in overdrive, and he's just spewing them out like hotcakes.
It gets me the feeling that Range Rover lease is paid in full.
Yeah,
he can go say what he wants. They can't take the Jeep. They can't take the Rover till the lease is up.
Yeah, this is like when Johnny Drama got a job and was like,
that's how it feels.
All right, Vince. Yeah, I'm good. I don't need you anymore. So I got Johnny Bananas now, so we're good.
Victory! As we move on, we got a lot to get into today. Certainly, we hope for a victory as the Portland Trailblazers arrive at 7:00. We're doing our silver and black, and we will discuss such things as how big a bust is Scoot Henderson actually? He might be one of the biggest busts since Sam Bowie. Wait till we show you those numbers as Portland arrives. Yep, Belichick's still floating around looking for a job. Coming up next, we're talking All-Stars. The starters were announced. How soon, or will we actually hear Wemby's name mentioned as an All-Star for 2024? The discussion will follow. Hang around with us. It's going to be a good old Friday. You're with Rob and RJ, and this is 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
The NFL playoffs are here.
Read all about it, baby. One last drive.
Wild card, divisional, conference championship, and Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. Hear it on your exclusive home for the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl. 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
The John Clay Wolf Show. Here's what's going on in the Wolf Pack.
You got to be super organized to drive an electric vehicle, man. I ran it down to 0 miles remaining just as I pulled up into the parking lot.
I see 3 extension cords coupled together running several hundred feet out into a parking lot.
You guys are ghetto.
The whole world's going to look ghetto with these cables running around and cars slung all over the place.
The John Clay Wolf Show, every Saturday morning.
Catch the John Clay Wolf Show, Saturdays from 9 a.m. to noon, right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
Hey, this is Rob Thompson for Tri-County Meat Market, your locally owned full-service meat market. Tri-County has 2 great locations, Hebner Road and Ralph Fair, stocked full of everything you need to up your grilling game. You're looking for the perfect cut of beef, they've got it. And if they don't have it, they'll cut it for you. Roast chicken, prepare foods, they've got it. The 5 for $25 is always in play. If you're a first responder, 10% off the best meat you're going to find. Tri-County Meat Market. Head over to either location, put some good meat on the grill, and thank me later.
We all make resolutions this time of year, and let's face it, most of them won't stick. But here's one that's not only easy to keep, but will help you feel healthier all year long. Navage. Navage provides quick, drug-free nasal relief by washing saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out of the other nostril. This time of year, when everyone is sick, Navage helps by sucking out germs, bacteria, and viruses trapped in our noses that cause us to feel miserable. And come allergy season, it does the same with dust, pollen, and other allergens. And unlike medications that can take time to help, if they're effective at all, Navage helps treat congestion symptoms in seconds flat, without drugs. This New Year's, resolve to use drug-free Navage to help you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier all year long. Ask for Navage at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, or find us online at Navage.com. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
Hey guys, don't mind me as I interrupt your radio program. It's Sue Cosner, your favorite health expert on men's performance in the bedroom. Do me a favor and don't touch that dial. That's a mistake. If you've been listening to this radio station, you've probably heard a compelling radio ad for Noxitril, the potent all-natural male enhancement pill. Men constantly reach out and ask me, does this Noxitril really work? Or is it just another scam product? I can tell you there's nothing better than Noxitril. I recommend this super pill to men everywhere. It will transform your life in the bedroom once and for all. Strong, powerful results that increase your blood flow fast. No prescription, no side effects. Just imagine Viagra on steroids. So call Noxitril now and take advantage of an incredible free bottle offer shipped discreetly to your door.
Find out how to get a free bottle of Noxitril while supplies last. Call 800-993-2150. 800-993-2150. Free bottles for limited time. So call now. 800-993-2150. 800-993-2150.
We're in the studio right now with Jose from the Gomez Law Firm. Online client reviews and testimonials are incredibly important. Joe Gomez Law is the leader when it comes to 5-star reviews.
We encourage people to go online and look at our reviews. There's a lot of attorneys that might not want you to do that, but we encourage you to do that because we want to make sure that you feel comfortable choosing the right attorney. And we assure you, you go to Google and look up our reviews, you're going to be satisfied. I mean, we have almost 1,000 reviews and we're very highly rated.
If anyone from San Antonio or even anyone from Texas is looking for a trusted attorney, the Gomez Law Firm is for you.
There are not a lot of businesses that stick around for even 50 years, let alone personal injury law firms.
If you have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, then you need to visit joegomezlaw.com.
And remember, Gomez Law fights.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly.
I would recommend QC to anybody.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318.
San Antonio Card House, the premier card house. It's a new year, it's a new month, but it's the same old thing when you're talking about SA Card House. They're giving money away. $125K giveaway running all the way through the end of the month. January 31st, 527 chances to win. You know our slogan, you got to play to get the pay. 17 hot seats drawn per day. Yes, per day, every hour on the hour from 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. And this month they pulled out the wheel. That's right, 20 spin the wheel to win. $500 all the way up to $2,000. And of course, it's SA Card House, so you got the multiplier. The multiplier bonus is 100 to 149 hours. You get 2 times the multiplier. Once you get up over 150, it's 3 times the multiplier. When you're playing that much, might get a little famished, might get a little hungry, might get a little thirsty. Bounce on over to Foster's Bar and Grill and order some food from one of those 3 fantastic chefs. Check it out yourself at sacardhouse.com. That's SA Card House, the premier card house in San Antonio.
Check out the Jim Rome Show, weekdays at noon.
If you're San Antonio, there are benefits that come along with it. I will cut you the front of the line. We're going to hike the return.
On 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Good morning to you. Welcome to Friday. That's RJ Ochoa. I'm Rob Thompson. He is the managing editor of Blogging the Boys. We got guests coming our way today. We talk about giving nicknames. Stats. That's a good nickname.
Yeah, you know who gave it to him?
Was it you?
It was Greeny.
Rob Stats Guerrero of the Gold Standard Network will be here with us at 8:30. We'll look at the conference games through stats perspective. Saad will be here in about an hour. He have Cowboys talk of The Athletic. I'm sorry. We'll be here as we look for good news, positive things for the Dallas Cowboys. And indeed, there are. It ain't all awful. Although we'll talk about it, what is at 9:30 as we exit the bad and enter the good and find ours in our airing of grievances. But no grievances with the NBA All-Stars, really. The starters were announced yesterday in the East, represented by R.J. Ochoa. Giannis Antetokounmpo is I guess, led the voting. Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton for the first time, a starter, and Damian Lillard has he moved from the West starter to the East starter, which opened up something in the West. LeBron is there, Kevin Durant, of course, Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, and we'd like to welcome as a brand new starter and second-year All-Star, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Good group.
Yeah. It is the first start, by the way, for Dame.
Yeah. Ever.
So pretty cool. West is the best, clearly. But people are pretty pissed off about Dame. Actually. Yeah.
He hasn't been good. But this is not the voted part. This is every year. This is votes. This is tomorrow your vote counts 8 times kind of stuff. So
yeah.
But what this is a representation of where the league is going. This is a barometer of the Mount Rushmore of the stars of the NBA. Who's in the lead? Who's not, who's on the front burner. And as the league has grown, we see Shai Gilgeous take over. LeBron's still in front, but that's, it's LeBron.
I think it's fascinating. I mean, because we talk small market NBA team, as a subject all the time. I think it's fascinating that Dame, I'm not trying to act like Dame Lillard is a small market NBA player.
But he's Portland to Milwaukee. Those are 2 small markets.
Right. The Portland, route is important. The fact that he could beat a Knick, right? You say that 10 years ago, it sounds inconceivable. And so it is a reflection of the marketless NBA. Not that that's a true and total thing, but you're right. So this thing is so complicated to understand because so Dame Lillard was 4th in player rank, whereas Jalen Brunson was 3rd, but Brunson was 5th in fan rank and Dame was 3rd. Dame was 5th in media rank, which would seemingly, no offense to fans, count a little bit more, people who are professionally paid to.
If you're not from that market, your vote shouldn't count, though. If you're from that market, your vote should be immediately discounted. You know what I mean?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But from an aggregate standpoint, Brunson was 2nd from a media rank, only behind Halliburton.
And I get the upset. I've seen the ripple around for Brunson. Well, Knick fans should have voted for him.
But why is the fan rank the tiebreaker?
Because this is a fan rank thing. That's what this is. This has nothing to.
It's a legacy defining thing.
It is.
It's you're an all-star starter is a legacy enhancer, a legacy booster. So I don't think the fan rank should be with it being maybe it's the 2nd or 3rd, like the tertiary tiebreaker. But I'm kind of team Brunson.
In your heart of hearts, you do believe that Brunson is. If you were going shirts and skin and you had next, and you could take one more on your team, and Jalen walking up or Dame's walking up, who you taking?
This year, right now, I think there's an argument for Brunson. Let me see here. Let me pull this up because
then that's your answer.
I think that I think Dame is a bigger individual name, and that obviously, benefited or boosted all of this. But I think, and it helps to be on the same team as Giannis, But it's amazing that the Knicks' power of it all wasn't enough for Jalen.
Because I don't think a lot of people, when you compare Brunson to Dame, go, well, I'd rather have Brunson. And it's no slap at Brunson. It's just, I think, perception and history and all the other things that Dame is just a bigger name.
More points per game, more blocks per game, got a higher field goal percentage, got a higher he's got a significantly higher 3-point percentage. He's got a 42% 3-point percentage. Dame's only at 35. Lower free throw percentage, but overall, he's the better player this season. That's okay. We can admit that.
That doesn't mean Brunson won't be an all-star. He's going to be chosen, and that's really where the discussion leads for Spurs fans. We've already been told Wemby's going to be a part of the festivities. He'll be, the next generation stuff and the skills competition. But really what matters is Sunday night. what we have seen over the last week and a half, despite the Spurs' continued floundering, is all-star caliber play. I don't know what else he can do because his team sucks. But I get the sense that the NBA would certainly like him there, would certainly like him to be on the team. I watched NBC is hosting the Olympics over the in the summer.
We've been told this a million times.
Yeah.
right?
Have you seen all the cuts where they're talking basketball and Wemby's picture is everywhere across Paris as they prep for the Olympics? So I get the sense NBA would really like him there.
I'm not trying to be, to harp on the Brunson Dame thing, but so we desperately want Wemby to be an all-star, right? We agree that Wemby is an all-star, right?
Yes.
So if it came down to are you fine letting the fans decide this? Because while the French fans will certainly help out here, although look, I'm kind of about to destroy my own point, because if we leave it into the hands of the media, then Zach Lowe is going to be like, oh, it's not an all-star.
True.
She's trash. So I guess as I unpack this point, maybe I'm fine with Dame as a result of it all. But my point is, if we're simply relying upon fan votes to get, or I know it's not simply, but that's going to hurt Wemby.
Well, no, you're right. And here's the thing. So the All-Star used to be the 5 starters were by the votes, and the other 10 dudes that the coach got to pick. The NBA was like, okay, fans voted for whoever, but let's get the true All-Stars in the building. They might not start, but we'll get everybody there. Well, right now, if Oklahoma City, which, they're running around first or second in the West, if they end up first in the West, and it is truly the coach of the team that gets to choose the 10, Wemby ain't going. Or we're going to have both Chet and Wemby, because Dagnall cannot go back to Oklahoma City having chosen Wemby over Chet. I mean, it's his own dude. So we better hope that the OKC and their other all NBA all-star starter and SGA is enough for them.
So, wow, you've just established some more rooting interest for Spurs fans. To your point, getting a little bit deep into the weeds here, big time Timberwolves fans.
Yeah,
all of a sudden.
Very much so. Another thing, notice no Anthony was there.
That's true.
Which I was rather surprised. And while Brunson has every argument, Anthony Edwards, it's hard to argue, is not.
Well, I mean, that he got LeBron. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's really all this is. But you're right. Yesterday, obviously, in the lead up to all this, every show in the world was predicting their 5 All-Stars or, whatever. And everybody had Anthony Edwards in. But, if you're being purely, as democratic as possible, LeBron's probably not in it. But you're similarly to, not having Chet if his coach is there, you're not going to not have LeBron James be a starter on the West All-Star team.
No, it would be it'd be a CLM, as it's known in our industry, a career limiting move. The earlier today we were laughing, Edwin and I, Easy E, we're laughing at the fact that RJ was wearing a Bucks jersey. We're not laughing, but asking him how on earth did you
y'all were laughing and ridiculing
and you found out that it was a gift, and I assumed it was kind of the thing. And I go, we were talking about the Bucks, and as a young man, I was a big fan of the Bucks for a very particular player, Marcus Johnson. And I was talking about that era, and I brought up a couple of guys when I was a fan of Milwaukee back then. And here is one of those creepy kind of I'm reading our stat sheet, our daily rundown of all the data that we get as talk radio hosts to make us look smart.
Okay.
This is the second time in All-Star history that the Bucks have multiple All-Star starters. With Dame and the Freak. It also happened back in 75-76 with Bobby Dandridge and a guy that I was just talking about, Brian Winters. Interesting. Anyway, cross that bridge when we get there. We are talking NBA, and we do expect the Wemby to get in. I just would be shocked that if he wouldn't. I want to go ahead and call it right now on January the 26th. Boston's the best team in the NBA. If they are firing, man. That team did anybody see Boston go at it last night?
It's not fair to say they win at it.
143-110. They smoked the Heat.
It was a one-sided affair. I recognize I might be in a minority here, but they're kind of likable. They are. I'm really enjoying them. Afterwards, when he was speaking with Ali LaForce, Jason Tatum was asked, like, what kind of, how do you do this? Like, how do you keep the intensity up? And I was thinking, like, oh, that's, kind of a difficult question, but let's see what Tatum's got.
Get it out of the park.
I normally would have rolled my eyes at this, but he was like, like, our fans travel and we hear them. And I was just kind of like in the sports of it. I was like, cool, man. Like, this is really cool. Like, I can totally get on board with this. So yeah, they're great. He's great.
I don't like it though. I'm not happy about it because there's a guy on that team that's helping him that Porzingis to me has been a fraud his entire career. And I predicted, prediction or hope you can kind of intermingle the two, but I hope Porzingis would arrive in Boston and just destroy that team. That he would be selfish.
What about Derek? You don't want it for him?
But no, but there's Derek. But you ain't me. You ain't us anymore. You're them. But
Derek has made me realize the Celtics 9 is a weird 9.
It's a weird font.
There's something strange about the font for the Celtics 9.
Too many edges. Too many squared.
Yeah, like, and I never noticed it with Rondo, but like, there's something about it that just it feels off. I feel like I'm leaning one way. I don't feel steady. I don't know what it is.
Congratulations to Tyrese Halliburton, second-year All-Star and a starter there. So we have two new starters in the NBA. There is a changing of the guard. We have Shai Gilgeous and Tyrese Halliburton who have entered and will be as starters. You get the sense for a while as we have no Steph Curry as a starter. Interesting. We got a lot more to talk about today with the Dallas Cowboys, the NFL as it is championship weekend. On the other side of this big break, though, we're going to talk with Sean Elliott. We're going to hear from Sean Elliott. He came in on the Blitz yesterday, and it was so reflective of, I think, the general Spurs fandom. And he gave us some answers to some things, or at least he confirmed some suspicions that a lot of us have had. Sean Elliott on the Blitz next. You're not going to want to miss this. This is one of those good ones that doesn't come around very often. We'll be right back. He's RJ. I'm Rob. We call it R&R. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on the Blitz, it is a football Friday, a championship football Friday. We're going to get you ready for the AFC, NFC championship games. It's going to be fun.
Plus, we'll talk about teams that aren't playing this weekend. John McClain will join us to talk Texans. Plus, we'll talk Cowboys with John Machota. The Blitz starts at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's a mystery where Old Spice finds its amazing scents like Himalayan sea salt, but I'm thrilled they have because no other body wash exfoliates and moisturizes 24/7 like Old Spice Gentleman's Himalayan sea salt body wash. Now, if only there was a mountain range separating the Indian subcontinent from the Tibetan plateau where I could hide my Old Spice and keep my family from stealing it, my impossibly smooth skin will finally be safe.
Get the appliances you need right away at Lowe's. Explore the largest assortment of brands you trust, like Whirlpool, LG, in-store or online at the best values. Plus, take advantage of our everyday financing offers on top items, from refrigerators to laundry pairs. And there's more. Get your new appliances delivered or installed quickly at your convenience. Because Lowe's knows appliances. Lowe's knows home improvement. Subject to credit approval.
No amount of money can make up for a life-changing injury. I'm George Salinas, and at George Salinas Injury Lawyers, our team of attorneys will fight to get you the maximum compensation because we prepare and we care. So if you've been injured in an accident, get George. Call George Salinas Injury Lawyers today at 210-225-0909 or visit getgeorge.com.
Hey guys, don't mind me as I interrupt your radio program. It's Sue Cosner, your favorite health expert on men's performance in the bedroom. Do me a favor and don't touch that dial. That's a mistake. If you've been listening to this radio station, you've probably heard a compelling radio ad for Noxitril, the potent all-natural male enhancement pill. Men constantly reach out and ask me, does this Noxitril really work? Or is it just another scam product? I can tell you there's nothing better than Noxitril. I recommend this super pill to men everywhere. It will transform your life in the bedroom once and for all. Strong, powerful results that increase your blood flow fast. No prescription, no side effects. Just imagine Viagra on steroids. So call Noxitril now and take advantage of an incredible free bottle offer, shipped discreetly to your door.
Find out how to get a free bottle of Noxitril while supplies last. Call 800-993-2150, 800-993-2150. Free bottles for limited time. So call now, 800-993-2150, 800-993-2150.
Eczema flaring up again? We have good news. Exoderm. If you or someone you love suffers from eczema or dermatitis, get Exoderm, the common sense answer for eczema. This stuff really does work. Exoderm contains the #1 doctor-recommended ingredient in a clean hypoallergenic cream with no harsh additives. Take back control of your eczema with affordable, fast-acting Exoderm Flare Control Cream. Exoderm. It's in the first aid aisle of your local Walmart, H-E-B, and other fine stores.
Well, family, this new year is off to a great start. Everybody, how are those New Year's resolutions?
Dear, my resolution is to cut my damaged hair and just start over.
Dad, my resolution is to take better care of my skin. It's so dry. Ew.
Pops, my New Year's resolution is to work out at the gym. Go up and drink a gallon of bottled water every day.
My resolution is to take up skydiving.
Mom, you're 96.
Don't you make me get it.
Family, my resolution is to replace all our appliances that have been destroyed over the years by hard water.
Sounds like your family needs to start the new year off with installing a Connecticut water system and get a head start on all those resolutions.
This guy's making sense.
There's a reason why we say Connecticut is the last water softener you'll ever own. Call us at 656-PURE. I'll even let you try a Connecticut water system for free. We'll change your water, and it'll change your life.
The last water softener you'll ever own. Connecticut. SA.com.
Joe, I've invented the perfect exercise machine. It's practical, efficient, and fits in any home. I give you the Row and Go. Ta-da! It's a rowing machine that connects to your toilet, so you can row and...
Stop. Folks, at Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC will help homes stay in tip-top shape. Call Quarter Moon 651-5899.
Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC, 210-651-5899.
License number M16004, DACLA 000743458.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Anjali.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just got an alert for a strange charge on my card.
No problem. We make sure you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases on your Discover card. Let's see. Did you purchase something from a t-shirt cannon store yesterday?
Absolutely not. No, I already have like 3.
$0 fraud liability guarantee. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Limitations apply.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 15% when you buy 4 or more Purdy paint products. And there's more. Save 10% when you buy 68 or more panels of select OSB sheathing. Visit us in-store or online for low prices on the materials you need. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
This is Andrew Monaco, and the Aggies play here. 94-1, San Antonio Sports Star.
Rob and RJ with you. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. If you're watching us live, welcome. We're glad you're here. Just tell us you're here by subscribing and liking and doing all, what do we call it? The viewer tax? Don't cost nothing.
The like tax.
The like tax. But it doesn't mean much to you, but it means everything does.
On the subject of the like tax and the YouTube audience, you get a chance to have your comment read out loud on the show, have your questions asked directly. Like I see you, Jesse, saying, did you see, RJ, that Jurgen Klopp is stepping down at the end of the season? I did.
We discussed.
Now, you would think that would offer a chance for the proper Reds, my Reds, Manchester United, to be competent. But, I've just accepted, Rob, that I'm destined for, from this point on, eternal misery as a lifelong sports fan.
Well, we will try to improve your attitude in about a little under an hour. Good friend of the show. He was here last week and will be regular. Saad Yousuf of the Athletics. And he'll join us with some positivity on Friday to kind of help you get going. Reasons to be happy, to look forward to the future as a Cowboy fan. And there are several.
Not my grievance today, but there's nothing more annoying than when you want to be in a bad mood.
I know.
And somebody's like, oh, cheer up. What? No, I'm mad. Let me be mad.
Let me just be mad. I have to tell my wife that sometimes. Just let me be cranky for a little while. I just gotta let it out. It's not you, it's me. Sean Elliott wasn't.
Don't say
cranky.
it's not you. It's me to your wife.
Sean Elliott wasn't cranky yesterday.
Ooh,
but he was exceedingly honest. So that's one of the things we love about Sean, because as he has been the TV guy, the color guy up there with Bill Land, and we're thinking of you always, Bill. You lose track that what he has to say oftentimes is actually the truth. So he was on yesterday with the Blitz, and they ask him, what's the difference with Pop before and Pop now? Is he? We've seen the stylistic differences, but behind the scenes, from a guy who's seen the Serbian Pop and the, everything in between, what's it look like? And this is what he had to say about Pop now.
Yeah. I mean, because kids are different. I mean, Pop got on me. I mean, he said unholy things to me. Tony Parker, Manu, Timmy. Let me tell you, the year that I was out and I was working to come back and get on the court, it was 2001, 2002. I wasn't really retired. I figured I'd come back and play. And we were at the old Continental Airlines Arena playing the Nets. And I went in at halftime, and I was in the coach's locker room, and I could hear Pop in the players' locker room. And he was on those three, the big three, so hard, it was unimaginable. I mean, I had almost never heard anything like that ever. And those three guys were able to accept it. They were able to take in what he was saying, because what he was saying was right. It was the truth. And they handled it. It's harder now for him to say that to these younger guys, because you're in danger of losing them. So he has to be a lot softer, a lot gentler with them. And I think he's done a great job with that. But again, it's a whole different era of players. I think anybody that's just out there in the workforce would agree with, the mentality that has changed over the years, as opposed to like guys like me who are old school. You guys are old school, as opposed to a little bit newer generation, which doesn't mean that they're bad kids. That's not what I'm saying. It's just a different way of motivating them and getting the message across to them. That's what's changing.
Sean Elliott yesterday on the Blitz. That's I don't know how to take that, but he's right. That's what we believe. That's what I thought.
I think that conversations about generations generally lead to one screaming at the other. And I'm certainly not saying that's what Sean was doing. It's hard to argue against him. I mean, I think the collective would argue that the current NBA is soft, or, I mean, he literally used the word softer, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I do see Rudy literally saying in our chat that this generation is soft. I think it's in addition, even if you believe that, I think it's a much more slippery slope than it used to be. Everything you do is way more public, way more documented, way more whatever. There are way more consequences for anything and everything involved. And that changes the calculus, in addition to anybody hypothetically being soft.
And, and to his credit, I do think Pop's done everything he can to adjust to this modern era. But the
actual basketball, but I mean,
so here's my. Do you know any expats from other countries that English is a second language?
Do I know it?
Like expats that live here, or you're around a lot, that had to learn English late in life, or later.
Okay.
In life.
Yeah. Sure.
And they can learn the language, but there's always an accent. There's always something where you go, you're not from here.
I think you can always tell with the way they process things. You can sort of see them thinking in their native language, and then
you're right,
and then translating it, and they kind of mix up a verb here, a verb there, whatever.
And words have slightly different meanings to them, kind of the same. Right. We're in the same neighborhood, but their red is kind of our orange. It's not. We're always on the same page, but we're always not always in focus, and that never.
In my language, macaroni is an insult.
Right, and that never changes. You just grow to accept that the way that they perceive the language and the way they use it is just different. Well, that's Pop right now. He's going to have an accent no matter what he does. And these kids, no matter how he says it or when he says it, it's going to come across with an accent, because he is just speaking a different language. The guy's 80 years old, and he's talking to 20-year-olds. I mean, you can do everything you can, but they're never going to be in focus. And while I like hearing the fact that he's done as good as he can, I had to come to the realization when I heard him say that
Sean,
that we have reached an impasse. We have reached a time we're closer to the edge than I thought, is where I'm going.
There are youthful coaches in all sports. I think Pete Carroll, who we've talked about a lot lately, is one of them, right? Somebody who's whose strength is maybe that is kind of connecting with, I wouldn't call it different generations, but just different people. And I think Pop has certainly a strength of connecting to human beings. But yeah, I mean, when these, I think we're so far into this now that even I think sometimes when you have great coaches and all-time coaches and legendary coaches and players join their team, I think there's an assumption that there's going to be this high regard because teams are walking into, or these players are walking into, rooms with living legends who have done and all this stuff. But even the most incredible Pop accomplishments significantly predate, these players' very existence, right? You know what I'm saying?
So it's encyclopedia knowledge where you're like,
right,
okay.
It's like LeBron is close to that, right? Like LeBron is close to being, man, I mean, you're talking about he was drafted over 20 years ago now. You know what I'm saying? So
and young players are getting tired of him too. I mean, there's some youngsters that are like, enough from you, bro.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I think the sweet spot right now is maybe like Steph, right? It's because Steph's been around long enough to where, the kind of new generation, if you want to call it that, were kids when Steph was going off and idolizing and looking up to him. But even at that point, you're well past the kind of Spurs glory, moments, at least the consistent ones. And so there's a disconnect. I think that's fair to say and to understand. That doesn't mean
it's
move
not
on
a
from Pop this
disconnect.
moment.
It's just kind of there'll always be a short, and you can keep the cord straight, and there'll be perfect communication. But every now and then, it's going to get kinked, and there'll be a loss. And there's more of that than we are used to. We're going to hear more from Sean all show long on things that are deep inside the Spurs that we always suspected, that I do think that he confirmed. Hang around for that. We'll definitely be hitting it in the 9 o'clock hour and the 8 o'clock hour. Coming up, there's 2 jobs still open. I wonder who's going to get them. The carousel spins. Some surprising hires in the NFL, and who's next to get a job. Keep your hands together and look upward or around you, whoever your deity is, and maybe hope that DC for the Cowboys ends up in Seattle. We're talking about it next. This is Rob and RJ, and you're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The Sports Star boys are headed to Vegas for the big game.
Remember, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
February 5th, Rob and RJ and Jason and Joe are heading to Sin City and Radio Row for the big game, with security provided by AA Best Bail Bonds.
Let's go to Vegas. We'll all get drunk and
Woo! I think you gonna get away with it. Not up in here.
Not up in here.
Powered by AA Best Bail Bonds, Synergenics, Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the... Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. Find the Children is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted car. Call 1-800-294-0222. You'll receive the maximum tax deduction, and we provide fast, free pickup. Call 1-800-294-0222. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Call 1-800-294-0222. This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
Hey, this is Rob Thompson here for Prize Picks. I want to tell you about Prize Picks. For those of you guys that like to play and watch games a lot of different ways, there's lots of different ways to enjoy it. I've been a fantasy football player since the very beginning. Heck, I made my bones playing fantasy football, and Prize Picks is the first one that truly suits me. If you're a DFS player, there's no better place to go than Prize Picks, because my knowledge matters. This is a game of skill, and I'm not worried about entire teams. I'm worried about my favorite player, my team, my league. All I got to figure is where he might be, where she might be. Pick over, under, combine them with other players, get some prize picks, get some fun, but at the same time, use my knowledge. It's prize picks. And if you go to prizepicks.com, throw the word Alamo in there for your little promo, I'll tell you what, you're going to make a little bit of extra, get a little bit going. But I'll tell you what, prize picks is the one place I have found I can take my fantasy love and take it to the game. That's prize pick. Download today. Use Alamo. And I know you're going to thank me later.
Hey, it's Michael Fabiano. The playoffs are here. The stakes are higher than ever. And there's no better way to turn playoff football's big game energy into 100 times your money than Prize Picks. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less than the projection for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's that easy. You could turn $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Get in the lab and cook up your winning entry. Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million football fans who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks is matching your first deposit up to $100 when you download the Prize Picks app and use code PRIMETIME. That's code PRIMETIME on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-384-1340. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-384-1340. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-384-1340.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
Hi, it's Jason Minnick. You're listening to the home of the Cowboys, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's RJ and Rob with you. Happy Friday. I can't believe we made it. This week actually went pretty fast. Now we get a couple of games on Sunday. Of course, you can catch them all day long here on San Antonio Sports Star. When you hear professional football at a playoff and conference level, you know it's being brought to you by Flight by Yingling, because that's what they are. We'll have it all day long for you on Sunday. Make sure you're here to be here to enjoy what we expect to be some good games. Those that are trying to get there hired some new coaches over the weekend. What's this Canales guy? Dave Canales, new head coach of your Carolina Panthers. Dude, I'm not surprised. Well, I was quite frankly shocked that Atlanta hired Raheem. But once you take a breath and you go, okay, I get it. I get that. That's not a bad hire.
I don't think any Falcons fans get it, to be very clear.
I agree. But I can understand it. We'll talk about why Belichick doesn't have a job. But this Canales hire, I think, is in the weeds.
I think that it's a really difficult job to take on.
Yes.
Tepper's kind of made it a habit of firing dudes, making them really wealthy. But I mean, firing dudes, it doesn't, it doesn't exactly scream stability The quarterback situation is difficult. The draft capital situation is difficult. It just, I mean, being straight up, it wasn't a desirable landing spot by the top candidates, and they'd rather go elsewhere. And Carolina's got some reputation to fix. I mean, they've been kind of a dumpster fire since David Tepper took over.
Does Belichick bear blame for not getting this job, or is this just something that just felt like it was going to be too short for what is a long-term project?
I think this is the Falcons going a little too galaxy brain and thinking that they are a little bit too. I mean, I like Raheem Morris, but I just don't understand how you can entertain the idea of Bill Belichick and then tell your fans we're good. You know, like you don't go down that road unless you're willing to go down that road.
Hey, we're talking Cowboy Awards. Are they due? That's next.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on The Blitz, it is a football Friday, a championship football Friday. We're going to get you ready for the AFC, NFC championship games. It's going to be fun.
Plus, we'll talk about teams that aren't playing this weekend. John McClain will join us to talk Texans. Plus, we'll talk Cowboys with John Machota. The Blitz starts at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It seems like everywhere you look right now, someone is sick. This year, prepare your family for airborne invaders like bacteria, pollen, and yes, germs with Navage Nasal Care. Navage flushes ultra-pure, refreshing saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out of the other nostril. Navage sucks out viruses, dust, and other airborne particles, all the stuff that gets trapped in your nose, making you miserable. Don't get caught empty-handed this winter. Get Navage, the drug-free solution that helps you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier. Even better, Navage is HSA, FSA eligible, so Navage is a great way to spend those funds before they expire. Don't wait a minute longer. Buy Navage today and you'll breathe easier knowing you're putting your funds to good use. Navage is available online at Navage.com or Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Buyers Barricades is proud to provide traffic control, rental, and sales for work zones and events in the San Antonio area and beyond. Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. Learn more online at buyersbarricades.com. That's buyersbarricades.com.
Hey guys, don't mind me as I interrupt your radio program. It's Sue Cosner, your favorite health expert on men's performance in the bedroom. Do me a favor and don't touch that dial. That's a mistake. If you've been listening to this radio station, you've probably heard a compelling radio ad for Noxatril, the potent all-natural male enhancement pill. Men constantly reach out and ask me, does this Noxatril really work? Or is it just another scam product? I can tell you there's nothing better than Noxatril. I recommend this super pill to men everywhere. It will transform your life in the bedroom once and for all. Strong, powerful results that increase your blood flow fast. No prescription, no side effects. Just imagine Viagra on steroids. So call Noxatril now and take advantage of an incredible free bottle offer shipped discreetly to your door.
Find out how to get a free bottle of Noxatril while supplies last. Call 800-993-2150. 800-993-2150. Free bottles for limited time. So call now, 800-993-2150, 800-993-2150.
It is time to play Pass the Pigskin for a chance to win $5,000 cash and tailgate prize packs. Celebrate with Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds by entering the Pork Rind Appreciation Day giveaway. appreciationday.com. That's porkrindappreciationday.com. And don't forget to pick up your favorite bold flavored protein packed Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds today at HEB. Injuries happen, and when they do, skip ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, dislocations, sprains, and strains. Conveniently located in the Corey area with extended hours Monday through Saturday with on-site x-ray casting and bracing, Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, and best of all, no urgent care or emergency room copay. Learn more online at TSAOG.com.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
Offices in San Antonio, Austin, and St. Louis. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's attorneys. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online, mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
Before you fire up that grill, make sure you get into Tri-County Meat Market. Hi, Jason Minix here. Tri-County Meat Market has everything you need. If you're thinking steaks, you want some chicken, some poppers, beef ribs, pork ribs, brisket, picanha, tri-tip. They've got it all at Tri-County Meat Market. Take advantage of their Pick 5 for $25, and Tri-County always offers a 10% discount for military and first responders. Tri-County Meat Market, 2 locations on Ralph Fair Road and on Heavener, or online at tricountymeat.com.
KTFM Floresville. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, your home for the Aggies. San Antonio's Sports Center.
In the NFL, DAK is one of 5 MVP finalists, along with Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Brock Purdy, and Christian McCaffrey. DAK and CD are also up for the OPOY. All that makes sense if you're listening here. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
This is R&R in the morning.
Man in motion, handoff, Pollard coming right. Bang, zoom, touchdown Cowboys. Right to Yama, about 3 feet behind the line. Got it.
It's R&R in the morning with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning to you. Rob and RJ sitting comfortably. I hope you are too. On a Friday, attack the day. Don't mind the fog, and then brake lights will get you where you're going. Spurs get busy again tonight, welcoming in the Portland Trailblazers, coming off a very angrily taken defeat at the hands of the Oklahoma City Thunders, who recently defeated us. Portland welcoming in tonight, and the Spurs trying to jump off the schneid. We looked at the games as they're in the second of their 7-game homestand. We thought 3 wins was possible, 4 wins feasible, and one of them we thought would be tonight.
So I don't think that we ever thought. By the way, really quickly, based on your SportsCenter read, do you know what OP means in internet nomenclature?
I obviously do not, other than Offensive Player of the Year, OPOY.
No. OP stands for, you look at any kind of Reddit post or any kind of, initial post on any sort of forum. See, I consider my job to
the
educate
original
you on
post,
these
the OP.
Yes,
the original
poster. Original poster. They're acknowledging the original post of the person who, laid out the foundation for discussion. So, the more you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't think we ever thought that 4 was feasible in terms of the upcoming homestand. I think we thought that 3 was kind of the, that's, the genie said you can only have, 3 wins at the most. And we're like, well, this is kind of a tough scene. Now, my friend, my co-host, Rob Thompson, somewhat arrogantly thought these Thunders, okay, not only are they're gonna catch these hands tonight on Wednesday, they're gonna have this win taken away from them from Portland because they're gonna file this grievance. We found out late Thursday night that Portland was all bark and no bite on that regard. Come on, guys, stand up for yourself. I mean, geez, embarrassing. So that's the only good news I have coming into this game is that you got a tail between their leg Trailblazers team who doesn't even have the gall to stand up for a win that they rightfully deserved. This is number 1. This is the first one of the 3. I'm very confident in that as long as Portland doesn't shoot any shots from beyond the arc, because if they do, holy crap, we're screwed.
We cannot defend it. This time last year, I don't remember our record was. It was probably better than it is now. We were looking at the possibility. We were hoping we were playing for Wemby, but we knew that, it was a 1 in 4 shot, basically, by the time we were going to get to the bottom of the barrel and get into the lottery. But so there are other opportunities. We saw there was a Thompson kid. There were two twins, Asir and Amin, who both could really play. There was Scoot Henderson and Wemby, and there were debates as to who would be the guy if you didn't get Wemby. So I was firmly on this Scoot Henderson trail. I felt like this guy was a point guard that even today we could still use, and had been a pro since he was like 13. Had actually been a pro by the time he was drafted, longer than he was in high school. To give you an idea, the guy just felt ready. Well, Scoot has started his career in the dumps, man. The numbers are as bad as you could imagine for a first-round pick. We're talking by Basketball Reference numbers as bad as any rookie has ever been in some categories. And you wonder, is that the same guy that I saw? I mean, how could it go so wrong? I don't really have the answer other than some of the things that I heard from Sean Elliott yesterday. And we talked about it previously, many times, actually. Pop as this octogenarian coaching high school kids, 20-year-olds. I mean, how can we expect any kind of logical communication amongst the two? I mean, just the words that are being used and the context are just so remarkably different. And when you see the way that things have gone in Portland, I don't know if it's, whether Billups is unable to talk to Scoot or whatever the miscommunication is. So you start to realize the problems that these coaches run into. Sean Elliott yesterday was on with the Blitz, and they ask him, you add a Wemby, you add a superstar, a kid that's got everything. Why aren't the Spurs any better when you put a guy like Wemby on the court? And this is what Sean had to say.
Well, I think there are a lot of things that go into it. I think it's the mindset. It's the basketball IQ. We're not there yet, and what I would like to see, Jason, is I'd like to see us learn from our mistakes, and that hasn't been consistent enough. Where we still have the same kind of little mistakes that cost us in tight games. Personally, I had us. I was telling my family and friends that we were going to win more than 38. So I had us above that. But when you look at last year's team, I really thought if we were healthy last year, we were a 30-win team. But there's some veterans. I mean, that really helped us out last year that we didn't bring back. I mean, we didn't have Jakob Poeltl, who contributed to wins. We didn't have Keita Bates-Diop, who, even though he didn't start, he contributed to a lot of wins because he had a lot of know-how. You're talking about a 4-year player in college. We don't have those type of guys anymore. And so we'll have Doug McDermott. And so and I thought Jeremy Sohan, he only played 34 or 36 games last year. So I was assuming that all the young guys would take another leap forward, and to a certain extent they have, but they're finding out now how difficult it is to win games. I mean, it's little mistakes and 2 or 3 minute spans throughout the course of the game that cost us early. I mean, I feel like we gave away 7 or 8 games to start the season. I mean, we gave away. We had Miami down at first, Memphis, the same thing. If I went back and looked at the schedule, there were plenty of times we had leads in that first half, promptly lost them coming out in the third quarter because we just didn't have the leadership on the floor that was required. And so I think that was something huge for us. But it comes down to a lot of things. I mean, Jason, you and I talked a little while back on the fundamentals of the game. When you have guys that are coming out of college and they've only played for a year or two most, I see all the fundamental flaws that end up costing us games where we are out of position on defense, where we don't make the right passes. I mean, so many things. When you talk about how to make a simple entry pass in the low block, that's gone. Correct positioning on defense, so you're in a good help position. A lot of that is gone. closeout.
That's Sean Elliott yesterday. He kept going. And this, when they brought Sean in, I don't think they intended for this to go the direction that it did. But there was nothing that Sean said yesterday, and we'll have some more from him during the show, that implied that anything good is going on. I didn't take anything away positive from what Sean had to say. He said, we have no leadership. We have no basketball acumen. We have a coach who can't even call plays because they don't know how to run them. We're halfway through the freaking season, and there's only one real new dude that we're dealing with. Everybody else has been around here for a while or are playing such bit roles, they don't need to know that much. So
how long have you been smoking meat or grilling meat or barbecuing or cooking food? How long? Give me
20 years.
Okay. When you first got into it, because I think every person, I've seen this meme a million times, when you reach a certain age in life, you either become really into smoking meat or scotch or like World
you
War
find
II.
a thing. Yeah.
Right. And so when you get into smoking meat or whatever, you do the first, you buy your first brisket, you know what I mean? And you think okay, I got this. And you don't. You just never, you know what I mean? You don't. And this kind of feels like that. This kind of feels like a team that's way in over their head, which is something you certainly wouldn't expect from the Spurs or from Pop. They're 8-36 off the top of your head, record through 44 games last year. Kind of to Sean's point.
I felt like it was better than this. On
13-31.
Yeah, okay, 5 wins minus Wemby. And all these coming together, RJ, all of these little pieces coming together are telling me that there's dysfunction here that we don't want to admit. That we don't want to say it's bad. This is bad. Far worse. This is New England a year and a half ago. This is bad. This is bad, and it's getting worse.
It's not that, because New England a year and a half ago is clearly the descent. It's actually difficult to be this bad because you're this bad with a generational player, right? On your team. That's supposed to raise the floor. We've had some fun with the assist streak that the Spurs are on. Obviously, 102 games and counting. Watch out, 20 assists tonight, please. This came on my radar. Shout out to Pounding the Rock, SB Nation's San Antonio Spurs site. So Wemby has scored 24 points or more in 6 straight games.
Right.
I know that doesn't seem like a big old deal, but it is not exactly a common thing for we'll call it a first-year player. This is according to StatHead's database. So in this century, there have been 3 first-year players to record a 6-game streak with 24 points scored. Wemby, Jalen Green, and Zion. That's it. That's literally it. And the last person to do it before Jalen Green and Zion was Tim, who did it twice his first year in the NBA. It is not a common thing to get this consistently solid, consistently great output from a rookie. I mean, it's
lose.
And yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's statistically improbable to be this consistently bad in spite of consistent and stable and legitimate production from the center of your team. It's not like this isn't, Booby Miles chipping in threes randomly on the side. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is the center of your team that is working. So how is everything not falling in line behind it?
Well, we're at I just feel like I've come together with friends and family.
Booby Gibson.
And that was a good. Yeah, Booby Miles was football, but Booby Gibson's close. I feel like we're dancing around a subject that we've talked about for years. What are we going to do with Pop?
I don't think we're dancing. We're leading the charge. You and I, Rob, right now are in the middle. The song "Shout" is on. A little bit louder now, and then we got soon enough. We got to get down to that part. Everybody's got to get down to the ground. But
they should be able. When I hear Sean Elliott say they can't even inbound a ball, that's an indictment on Pop. I don't care. You can blame the players. You can blame the 20-year-olds. If they're not able to figure out a way to consistently do little things, and I'm not just harping on inbounding the ball, but he talked about just this roster is unable to run some of the things that have made the Spurs successful. And we're not talking about impossible high wire plays that only the highly gifted or basketball savants would understand how to do. We're just talking about regular basketball plays that Pop could run with, granted, superstar and Hall of Famer types that he can't even call now. This is Sean talking about one specific play that played a huge role in title chases. The game hasn't changed, but he can't run this play.
I would also offer that even if you want to excuse Pop, which I think is stretching a little bit too far, because it's okay to criticize Pop. Pop can handle it. You can say Pop is not nowhere near his bag at this moment in time. But okay, if you don't want to do that, fine. I mean, whatever. Then you really got to come at Brian Wright, because I mean, it's like, how can you field this team then? Like if the indictment is this large of like, dude, they don't even like. They literally don't know basketball. That's.
I mean, we're extrapolating, but yes,
right. But like, if that's the kind of decree that's being offered here, then the way you built this roster is the indictment. Is really embarrassing. What was the best case scenario with this? They all just learn an incredibly difficult thing on the fly against the best people in the world who already know how to do it. Like, what was the end game here?
Listen to Sean talk about, was it floppy? Listen to him.
Every single day, you're working on sets, you're working on plays, you're working on defense schemes, but at the same time, you have to have the basic fundamentals down to be able to implement those schemes on the defensive and offensive side of the ball. And if you don't have that basic fundamentals, it's a struggle, just to be able to run plays properly. I mean, there are lots of plays. I mean, if Spurs fans have watched the big three throughout all those years, there was a play coming down the stretch every single game. You can go back and watch games if you want. It was called floppy down, and it was a backdoor play.
We all know how difficult that can
Parker, be. And Timmy Duncan was at the elbow, and Timmy would throw in the backdoor, and Pop would call this play in the last minute and a half, and it was always to get a bucket in a tight game. And Tony, Manu, Timmy, they had the wherewithal and the knowledge and the savvy to be able to pull this play off. And I don't know, it was about 5 or 6 years ago. I said, Pop, how come you guys don't run floppy down anymore? I said, we our guys, they can't run it. And so, you're dealing with a whole different group of players that had experience and had know-how, and guys that are still trying to figure that out.
The key here is still trying to figure it out. When we have discussion, when I hear guys like Sean talking about it, we sound like we're talking about Pop after he got fired, and these are the reasons why. That's what it sounded like to me. If we place this after Pop resigns, retires, whatever happens, and we play this, we go, oh, that's the kind of sound you hear after it happened. Why did he leave? Well, halfway through the season, they couldn't even run plays. That sounds like we're describing reasons why he was let go, and he's still here. I'm not saying let him go, but man, the conversations around him sound like we're making some end of career decisions here. What are we going to do about Pop?
The water's got to go somewhere. You know what I mean? Like the dam it feels like the dam is finally going to break a little bit, or the dam should break, right? Like you've got to make a change just for sanity's sake. But because you can't waste this. You are literally getting all-time performance from your number one draft pick, who you're limiting, right? And I'm fine with that. I can square that in my mind. But you are literally getting unbelievable, historic, Herculean production from the dude, despite the fact that you are willfully, purposefully, and consciously limiting him. How do you only have 8 wins to show for that? I mean, you've got to have more than that. You've got to have, you do not have anything to show for it right now. Nothing. There's not a thing that you can hang your hat on right now. And if there were, we would be willing to stretch and give you that grace. But you've got to have something that we can all say, that's it. That's it right there. That's the thing that they did. That's the proof of concept. What is the proof of concept here?
Right. Proof of concept. I don't know. And if we don't know now, when will we know? Because I have no idea where we're going. 8 wins. They are behind last year. And there ain't no Wemby to go after. This is not the same kind of draft. At 9 o'clock, we're going to continue hearing from Sean, who was on the Blitz yesterday. And he talked about reasoning behind the Sohan experiment, which was the theme for the first half of the season. But coming up, we're going to try to cheer you up a little bit. As hard as it might be on a Friday, we're going to be joined by one of the Athletics' best. He's been with us before. Saad Yousuf's going to join us. He's got a great article now out on The Athletic talking about some positivity, some things to look forward to. There are some good things going on in the Cowboy land, and he kind of pointed it out. It ain't all awful up at the Star. That's coming up next as Saad Yousuf will be here. Following that, we're looking around the rest of the NFL. It's championship weekend. Who you like? Hold on tight. We got a whole lot to do. This is Rob and RJ, and you're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. You want to talk about things you need to get done? You better head over to Tri-County Meat Market today. The specials are in play, and it's a big weekend of football. It's not a major, but we're prepping for one in 2 weeks for the Super Bowl. So go over and do your scouting trip, your reconnoiter over at the two Tri-County Meat locations. Over on Hebner Road, just a little bit east of I-10, and Ralph Fair, just go a little bit further out 10, lovely Hill Country Drive out to Ralph Fair. They're stocked and ready for you. This weekend on Sunday, I am going to do myself some Bronto ribs. I'm going to get some big old beef ribs. That'll be the piece de resistance for the day. I'm going to do a couple of stuffed chicken breasts. I was going to do some of their house-made hamburger that they throw in some brisket meat with and their house-made hot dogs, but I've been ordered to up my game just a little bit more. And if you're looking for those giant beef ribs, head over to Tri-County. They are works of art. And while you're there, grab a couple of prepared meals and the stuffed chicken breasts. Grab a couple of those hot dogs and house-made sausages. Grab a rubs that you're not going to find anywhere else. You see what I'm hitting at? A great meal starts with great meat, and that's sitting right there at Tri-County Meat Market. They got all you need. If you're a first responder, you're going to get 10% off when you walk out the door. And let me tell you something. If you're not on their email list, you're not going to take advantage of all the specials they always have. That's Tri-County Meat Market. They're the best in San Antonio. Prove it to yourself. Head over to either one of them, and I know you're going to be thanking me later.
The Sports Star boys are headed to Vegas for the big game.
Remember, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
February 5th, Rob and RJ and Jason and Joe are heading to Sin City and Radio Row for the big game with security provided by AA Best Bail Bonds.
Let's go to Vegas. We'll all get drunk and
Woo!
I think you gonna get away with it. Not up in here. Not up in here.
Powered by AA Best Bail Bonds, Synergenics, Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Score big with LS Tractors at Dietz Tractor in Seguin, the MVPs of the field. LS Tractors, the star quarterbacks of farming, perfect for tough tasks for farm, ranch, and landscaping. Dietz Tractors has your all-star coaching staff for top-notch equipment. They're not just selling tractors, they're building lasting relationships with unmatched dealer support for parts and maintenance. It's a winning strategy that goes beyond the final whistle. Don't miss the game-winning move. 0% financing available with approved credit on LS Tractors. Start blue, stay blue at Dietz Tractor in Seguin.
San Antonio Card House, the premier card house. It's a new year, it's a new month, but it's the same old thing when you're talking about SA Card House. They're giving money away. $125K giveaway running all the way through the end of the month, January 31st. 527 chances to win. You know our slogan, you got to play to get the pay. 17 hot seats drawn per day. Yes, per day, every hour on the hour from 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. And this month they pulled out the wheel. That's right, 20 spin the wheel to win. $500 all the way up to $2,000. And of course, it's SA Card House, so you got the multiplier. The multiplier bonus is 100 to 149 hours. You get 2 times the multiplier. Once you get up over 150, it's 3 times the multiplier. When you're playing that much, might get a little famished, might get a little hungry, might get a little thirsty. Bounce on over to Foster's Bar and Grill and order some food from one of those 3 fantastic chefs. Check it out yourself at sacardhouse.com. That's SA Card House, the premier card house in San Antonio.
Joe Reinagle here. I want to tell you about something that has completely changed my life. I had vision correction surgery at Parkhurst New Vision. The results are amazing. The readers are a thing of the past. Hey, if you're like me and tired of those glasses, call Parkhurst New Vision at 210-585-2020. They offer a variety of services like vision correction surgery. So call Parkhurst New Vision, 210-585-2020, or get them online at sanantoniolasik.com.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 15% when you buy 4 or more Purdy paint products. And there's more. Save 10% when you buy 68 or more panels of select OSB sheathing. Visit us in-store or online for low prices on the materials you need. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Jackson Hewitt has a plan to get your tax refund fast with a buck here, buck there. Here a buck, there a buck, everywhere buck.
You don't have to wait weeks for your tax refund. Get money sooner with a no-fee refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt.
On this loan, there's a money today guarantee. E-I-E-I-DO.
Don't settle for chicken feed. Get fast bucks at Jackson Hewitt today. No-fee refund advance loans by Republic Bank offered to eligible clients. Money today guarantee if approved for a loan on a prepaid card. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Now, during Staples Print Big Sale, get $20 off your print purchase of $100 or more, $50 off your print purchase of $200 or more, and $100 off your print purchase of $300 or more. So the more you print at Staples, the more you save. To demonstrate, print at Staples, you save. But if you print at Staples, you save. See how that works? Staples Print Big Sale. Print more, save more, up to $100. Ends 2/10. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Hurt in a wreck? Get George. Hit by an 18-wheeler or commercial truck? Get George. Injured at work? Get George. When you're dealing with personal injury, you need to get George because George gets justice. I'm George Salinas, and my San Antonio-based firm has been recognized across the state of Texas and the United States. Call George Salinas Injury Lawyers today at 210-225-0909 or visit getgeorge.com.
This is Jim Rome. Join me weekdays at noon on my new home, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Let's get wild.
Hey, good morning to you. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. That's RJ Ochoa. I'm Rob Thompson. Been a rough couple of weeks in Dallas Cowboy land. The Star has been under siege from within and without. Family members taking pot shots at players. Anger at coaches. Couldn't be worse, could it? It could be a lot worse. We're joined by Saad Yousuf. He writes for The Athletic, good friend of the show. And Saad, welcome on the show, man.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
We needed a little burst of sunshine, my brother. A great article on there. And off on the top of it, where are we as Cowboy fan? Is it as bad as I feel?
You know, I think there's I understand both sides. And, you know, even in the comments, I had a lot of people, you know, saying that there is no positivity and everything is dark and cloudy and all that. And I get it. And, you know, I think there's a couple of elements to it. Like I said off the top on my piece, like, I don't think now is really the time to, even though Dak Prescott was named as a MVP finalist, I don't think now's the time to, you know, really hash out about all the positivity about Dak or Mike McCarthy leading 3 straight 12-win seasons, all that stuff. I think there's a balance to what kind of things you can draw positivity from and what things are, you know, at this point that they just ring a little hollow. And so I think when it comes to a lot of those things like Dak or McCarthy or even Micah Parsons, I think the expectations for those guys are so high that I don't think that at this point there's a whole lot for you to really rest on positively for those guys. But then outside of that, there are some things. I mean, when you have 3 straight 12-win seasons, you win the division, you're the number 2 seed, there's absolutely things that you can, you know, look at and take forward as positive development.
Saad, so I don't want to start the conversation about positivity by just completely spinning it negatively. So number one on your list, and totally worth reading, Saad always, and John and everybody at The Athletic. Yeah. But your reasons to be positive in the Cowboys. Number one was CeeDee Lamb as a top-tier NFL wide receiver. Where I think CeeDee is in a unique place is people hate Dak for obvious reasons, right? Just kind of the position he holds. And Micah has kind of made himself subject to this because of the podcast, and he's really outspoken. And again, whatever. But CD has never really caught hands from anybody. Nobody has had any beef with CD up until the social thing last week with his mom or whatever the case was. I do feel like CD is the pouting or whatever you want to call it on the sideline in the wild card loss. Like, this is new. These are uncharted waters for CD in my estimation. I'm not trying to be dramatic about that, but would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're such a results-oriented society that, when Terrell Owens and Chad Johnson and those guys kind of do it, and if it derails the team, then those guys are kind of seen as, like you said, in the negative light as pouting and things like that. Even Dez Bryant for so long during the Cowboys run as well. But I think the reason why CeeDee Lamb isn't viewed in that same light is because the biggest example of CeeDee Lamb kind of doing that whole pouting sideline thing came during the San Francisco game. And there were two things that happened. One, I think anybody watching the game, including the players and coaches and fans for sure, were like, yeah, well, CD has a point. He was open a lot. And I mean, look how bad the offense looked without getting him involved. And then the second thing was that the Cowboys immediately flipped the script, got him involved, and he absolutely took off for pretty much every single week after that game. And so I think because we're so results oriented, we just kind of forgot that, that whole thing was a kind of a negative. It stemmed from a negative thing of pouting. But I think if he pouts in that San Francisco game and then they don't turn it around, then we do see him more as that, diva, Terrell Owens in Philadelphia type of vibe, and less than what we see him right now.
We're joined by Saad Yousuf of The Athletic as we look at the Cowboys going into what's going to be a tumultuous offseason. Nothing new. When we look at the candidates for on the offensive side of the ball with CD and Dak, are they a product? Is the success of CD a product of Dak's improvement, vice versa? And where does McCarthy play into this triangle of success?
Yeah, I think to some extent there always is a little bit of that. There always is a little bit of the quarterback has a lot to do with how good a receiver is. I mean, we saw that. I mean, one of the best receivers of all time, Randy Moss. I mean, you see what he did in Oakland in 2006 and then in New England in 2007. I think there's always some element to that, but there is CeeDee Lamb, to me, and I wrote this too, and to me it was most impressive watching this year. It's that it's not about how talented or how good he is. It's the fact that he is pretty much unguardable. I mean, he was the number one guy on this team. There was no Amari Cooper. There was no 1A, 1B situation going on. He was the number one guy, and yet he was still getting open every single time. Now, the quarterback has to put it on him, and I think that's definitely part of it. But true number one receivers are able to produce even when the quarterback might not be, an MVP candidate. And we saw that in Cincinnati with Jamar Chase doing it with Jake Browning, right? And so I think there's different tiers to this thing, and I think what CeeDee Lamb kind of showed is that he really is one of those top tier receivers.
Saad, it's okay if the answer is that there wasn't, but I don't know if there was a sixth option that you didn't include in terms of reasons to be positive. It was a list of 5. And because I was kind of thinking, right, because I agreed with your entire list, but if I had to offer a 6, I think, outside of the way the season ended, I might have said that Mike McCarthy called his shot and lived up to it. I think that the tumultuous nature of everything has kind of obviously overshadowed that. But he said, look, I want to call plays. I think I can make this offense more efficient. And he was right. And I think under normal circumstances, that would be celebrated. If it was any, young hotshot coordinator after their first season, people would be kind of throwing them flowers. But nobody wants to, again, for obvious reasons. But what was the fat you trimmed off? What was number 6?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good one. I for me, I think there was just a little bit of, for me with Mike McCarthy, and this isn't necessarily just this season alone, but I really do like the way that he takes chances, and he doesn't coach like he's scared. And I think part of that is just McCarthy, and part of that is for all of us who have, I've been in Dallas since I was 2 years old. It's been a long time, and so for me, we lived through the Jason Garrett era, and you kind of see what coaching scared and coaching conservative looks like. And I think that's part of, I think that was another positive for me as well, is the fact that, playing to actually win the game and taking chances, going for it on 4th down. the calling the shots and taking up play calling, I do think that was a huge plus. But I think it kind of all goes hand in hand, and the fact that McCarthy really had confidence in his approach and the way that he was doing things. And whether you want to call it a positive or a negative, it could go both ways. But I really do appreciate the fact that when the season ended, we all knew exactly where to point the finger for good or for better or worse. We knew exactly where the blame was to go, where the credit was to go, and it really was all on the feet of Mike McCarthy.
He is Saad Yousuf of The Athletic here talking Cowboys, as you'll see all of his stuff on the regular there. Make sure you're following him. When I look on the defensive side of the ball, Micah Parsons, of course, is going to lead the way, and then Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs and all that. Tell me reasons to stay excited if we lose or extricate Dan Quinn, and we change our defensive coordinators. This is a defense that was kind of made in Quinn's image. I mean, we got a lot of guys that might not fit on a lot of defensive coordinators, size and general physical attribute lists. We just don't look like a lot of defenses. Can they change defensive coordinators and keep the manpower they've got, or if they lose a Quinn, do they have to get an acolyte to kind of maintain what they've built?
Well, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to, I respect Dan Quinn a lot, and I think he's done a phenomenal job. I don't think I'd be too upset if he was coming back as the defensive coordinator. But I think there's also, whether he comes back or whether it's somebody completely different, I think this roster can use some changes in bodies and things like that. And I'm mainly talking about the linebackers because, it's one thing, when things are working well, where we're sitting there in press conferences and going about, oh, well, how great that Marquise Bell is able to convert from a safety to a linebacker. But then you get run over by Aaron Jones and you realize, having some linebackers that are true linebackers might not be the worst thing. And I think obviously Van Der Esch, his future looks, uncertain right now, but I would say unlikely. But you're going to get Overshown back, and you have other guys that are going to step up, and you have this entire player acquisition period to go, which is going to be free agency in the draft. And I really do think that there were some questions going into the season, such as kicker, where there were actual questions, and the answer was really a positive thing. But this whole thing with the linebackers, this is something everybody saw coming out of training camp. And it really did kind of just, go exactly as everyone expected, where at the end of the day, the run defense was not very good. And they got taken advantage of, especially in that playoff game.
Saad Yousuf,
last one. You do a great job covering the Stars as well. No disrespect to the Mavericks, although, we are San Antonio. So, a little bit, but it hasn't helped. I don't think that the Rangers won the World Series. If the Stars were to, obviously be successful this season, do you think you have a great sense and temperature of the DFW area? Do you think that would really exacerbate the issue? Or do you think at this point, the issue just kind of is a monster no matter what size it is?
Yeah, I think at this point, it just kind of is what it is. And to be honest, I kind of lumped the three things, the Rangers, Stars, and Mavericks in one group, and then the Cowboys as their completely own entity. Not because the drought has gone so long. I think we've seen the graphic going around this morning from Junior Miller about the 28 season drought versus the 0 for the Stars, 0 for Rangers, and only 1 for Mavericks. But I think this is something that Machota and I have talked about a lot. That when the Cowboys do win the Super Bowl, whenever that time does come where they win a championship or and do that, there's no comparable. There's no closeness to the Texas Rangers, with all due respect, winning the World Series, the Dallas Stars winning the Stanley Cup, or the Mavericks winning a championship. It's going to be its completely own beast. And I think right now it's its own. And I don't really think that, that however long this drought continues to linger, I don't think it really has anything to do too much with the other three in terms of how you feel about it.
That is so true even today. And while we sit on the outside of the Metroplex looking in, it's hard to fathom how, the anger that you feel from the hinterlands isn't translated inside the city. But the Cowboys are separate and apart from everybody else up there in the Metroplex, as is Saad Yousuf joining us with The Athletic. Real quick, the coaching hires yesterday, a surprise by either?
Not terribly surprised. I think we've kind of seen that obviously Belichick was the one that's kind of like, hanging out there, but I think there's a lot of baggage that does come with that. And it's not like, it's not toxic or bad baggage, but just in the way that, you have to have your entire organization on board when you bring a Belichick in, because you're going to give him full organizational control. Other than him, I mean, honestly, Dave Canales was not on a lot of people's radar. I think I was looking more at Bobby Slowick for, a job that would go in that realm. But that was a little bit surprising, the Canales one. But the Raheem Morris one was really not very surprising to me at all, at least. I think I would have been more surprised if the Falcons hired Belichick than Raheem Morris, to be completely honest. But the Dave Canales one was definitely one that opened some eyes.
Well, we want to thank you for stopping by, man. It's always a great talk. You bring a lot of knowledge. Have a great weekend, man. We look forward to talking to you soon.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Check your stuff at the Athletic. Saad Yousuf right here on San Antonio Sports Star. We're going to talk about it. We got some guys up for awards. We want our guys to win. Are any of them going to win? I mean,
I don't think people want them to win.
Well, no. I mean, other than
maybe
a participation ribbon,
properly convinced you to feel positive, but you're screaming into a black hole if that's the case right now. I think it's a pit of despair right now. Like, you're like, hey guys, let's chew some bubble gum and let's eat some lollipops. People are like, I would rather just sit in this dark room and listen to My Chemical Romance. Like, nobody wants to entertain that idea whatsoever.
Not even for Young Bland or CD for doing what they did. They don't get the just desserts for having a season unlike we expected. We're going to talk about it. We got some guys up for awards. Are they going to win? Should they win? So many questions as the star turns. You're on R&R. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on The Blitz, it is a football Friday, a championship football Friday. We're going to get you ready for the AFC, NFC championship games. It's going to be fun.
Plus, we'll talk about teams that aren't playing this weekend. John McClain will join us to talk Texans. Plus, we'll talk Cowboys with John Machota. The Blitz starts at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The John Clay Wolf Show. Here's what's going on in the Wolf Pack.
I didn't want to call Bobo and have to have a confrontational.
Just make a change?
Yeah, because you're so bitchy.
We do it all the time.
You're so bitchy, Bobo.
You always
do
want
you
to
realize how bitchy you are? And I don't want to fight with you.
You know, you calling me bitchy would be like me calling you a fat bastard. That's projection, dude.
The John Clay Wolf Show, every Saturday morning.
Catch the John Clay Wolf Show, Saturdays from 9 a.m. to noon, right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
Eczema flaring up again? We have good news. Exoderm. If you or someone you love suffers from eczema or dermatitis, get Exoderm, the common sense answer for eczema. This stuff really does work. Exoderm contains the #1 doctor-recommended ingredient in a clean hypoallergenic cream with no harsh additives. Take back control of your eczema with affordable, fast-acting Exoderm Flare Control Cream. Exoderm. It's in the first aid aisle of your local Walmart, H-E-B, and other fine stores.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to...
¿Te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com.
My daughter is normally a little goofball, but after a bad night's sleep, she's too tired to be anything. That's why I trust Pure Z's Kids. Pure Z's Kids is mindfully formulated just for kids. Their non-habit forming, drug-free products help my daughter fall asleep naturally, giving her the rest to be her best.
I'm a dinosaur.
Her best dinosaur.
Pure Z's Kids, for ages 4 and up when needed. Explore our products at ZQuil.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Get deals on what you need during MVP's bonus days at Lowe's. Right now, save $20 on select 5-gallon ceiling paint or primer by HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams. Plus, get 15% off and earn 3 times bonus points when you buy 4 or more Purdy products. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Discount taken in time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts if any. Valid 1/15 through 1/26. Subject to change.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try soon. Harry's is available online and in-store at a retailer near you. Get a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/quality. That's harrys.com/quality. Or check us out at your local Costco for a price you can't find anywhere else. Just look for the Chrome Razor with 13 blade refills at your local Costco. You can't miss it. Exclusive to Costco members.
You're on San Antonio's Sports Star. He's RJ Ochoa. I think I saw Yousuf for stopping by from The Athletic. Good stuff, as always.
I saw a really funny meme right now, Rob.
What was
really
that?
funny. I got to share. It was like a text meme, and it said the general joke was that first grade teachers are hacking the bank accounts of all these people whose security question is like, what was the name of your first grade teacher?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? These first grade teachers are like, oh, who were my students 20 years ago? Let me try this and use my last name as their security question.
Who was your first grade teacher?
My first grade teacher was Mrs. Pettis. She was wonderful. She was a sweetheart. My favorite teacher ever was my second grade teacher, Mrs. Henderson. She was amazing.
First grade was, I think his name was Gakey. Whatever. I vaguely remember the man.
Okay. That sounds
last
like
night
the
I
name
almost
of the
called
sidekick in the Spider-Man
Last
video.
night I was, as we were going through show prep and I was looking through all this stuff. I just about called you. It was about 9:45 because I was, you and I are both share the same streaming service for our live programming, Fubo. And on Fubo, we get a lot of Houston-centric programming. And there's one Bally channel called Space City Bally's Sports or whatever it is.
It's formerly AT&T Sportsnet.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's Space City Home Network. Yeah.
Last night, I just desperate to find something. Found sumo wrestling.
They have some weird stuff on there. I mean, they're the home of the Astros and the Rockets, but you're right. When those games aren't on,
have you ever watched sumo wrestling?
No.
It is far more violent than I thought.
I mean, I feel like it's a pretty violent thing in nature. I feel like that's pretty obvious. The equivalent of what you're saying is like, have you ever watched karate? It's really violent.
Well, I know, but you think, the ceremonialness, and it's like, you think it's kind of like two rams like charging at each other. They hit the their horns, bam, and then they kind of separate, and then they do it again. No, this is like a 30-second struggle with two big fat guys.
Was the one offensive lineman in the replacements? He recruited to be. Yeah. So, I mean,
because last night was like an international, I watched some of that just because it's just extraordinary. The circumstance and the ritual behind that whole thing. I just find it amazing.
Wow.
Also on Netflix, they released one of those little 6-episode series on the Six Nations Rugby Cup.
Yeah. They have a lot of documentaries coming out. They have something, I don't know if it's come out yet or it's in the process about the World Cup. Like a kind of all or nothing about last year's World Cup, so I do want to check that out. I saw, by the way, a TikTok, so I'm surprised you weren't browsing TikTok, but of somebody who caught Messi in traffic and who threw a jersey at him through his window, and he signed it.
Cool.
Imagine you're just like driving down the street and he's there, and you happen to have the jersey. Maybe,
yeah, that's the other thing. He had his jersey.
It seems like, well, I think this may have been like a stalking sort of situation. But they threw it through the window, and he signed it and then threw it back. That's a cool way to get an autograph. You know what I mean? Like that's a story.
If you're an autograph guy, I would be. Get out of traffic. But that's go get it. I watched 2 episodes of that rugby thing before I found sumo. And if I'd have found sumo, I'd have been there.
Wow.
Yeah. How much rugby have you watched?
Nothing really except for Red Ross in season 4 of Friends. That's all I've got.
I've never really, I had friends and fraternity brothers types that played it in college. They kind of this activity where they all played rugby. I never quite understood it then. I still don't understand the rules. But it just, I know I'm the jingoistic American. Like, if we were doing it, we'd be great at it. We're just not sending our athletes to do it.
Oh, dude,
if we had our football guys,
we are so arrogant.
Yeah, the arrogance that I have. And I'll be honest, I felt it last night watching it. I was just watching these rugby guys run around, and I go, they don't seem that athletic to me.
It's a really physical game that may not be athletic. I don't know if that makes sense.
You're right. But I think watching it for the 2 hours, I became an expert on rugby. It only took me a little while.
Interesting.
It just felt like if given the opportunity, I could field a team of 11s or 7s or whatever you want to do. And I could find athletes that would give me a month. And
this is the conversation people have every year around the World Cup, actually.
No, I've learned my lesson.
If LeBron
there.
played soccer, we'd be dominating this.
Now I've learned my lesson. You have to be born doing it. It just seems like rugby, if you're kind of half-ass crazy and got a thick head and don't mind losing your ears, which, by the way, I don't know what rugby and ear. All those rugby players, their ears look like they're chewed pieces of gum. Everybody, every one of them, their ears are just like bubble gum hanging stuck to the sides of their heads. What is going on there? Pink bubblicious. It's just lumps of skin hanging on the side of their heads because of playing rugby with that watermelon they got to toss around. Speaking of tossing watermelons, is Dak going to catch one with an MVP? We'll talk about it.
The Jim Rome Show.
Hey, Jim Rome here, and back in the military city of San Antonio.
Weekdays at noon on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
What would you do if you weren't afraid is a very important question to consider. The reason to consider it is because life has a nasty habit of presenting us with opportunities for our fears to rise to the surface and either stop us cold in our tracks or completely derail us. Digging down into why and what we fear can uncover some life-changing moments where we not only discover some important things about ourselves, but learn some lessons about life. Eventually, we will all face tragedy and setback. No one goes untouched, but some folks will closet themselves off in denial and self-deception. Others, on the other hand, will realize that what they face is really bigger than what they can handle and invite God into the crisis. And when they get to the other side, they realize that they're not afraid to love and to be loved. They're not afraid to be hopeful about life because the fear of going it alone is gone. God is with them. This is Mark Absher, the MacArthur Park Church of Christ, encouraging you to face your fears. Visit our church online at macarthurchurch.org. The MacArthur Park Church of Christ, connecting God and people.
Hi, I'm Jason Thompson. I'm a personal injury attorney, and since 1994, I've been helping people and their families seriously injured or killed by negligent drivers. My website is alawyerforus.com. I use that phrase because I know that there's no way a regular San Antonian can possibly beat $1 billion insurance company alone. You will need an experienced attorney to stand up for you and get what you and your family deserve. This month, my father will retire after 50 years of practicing law, doing what he taught me to do, help people in need. Stand up for the people that cannot. Use the skills you have to help the people in your community win and where you can. When an insured driver seriously injures someone, $1 billion insurance company uses everything it can to pay as little as possible. Every insurance company you have heard of has a very large staff of attorneys already working against you. If you or a family member has been seriously injured because of a negligent driver, call me, Jason Thompson, as soon as you can after a collision. My number is 210-900-0400. That's 210-900-0400. Or check out my website, alawyerforus.com.
Well, family, this new year is off to a great start. Everybody, how are those New Year's resolutions?
Dear, my resolution is to cut my damaged hair and just start over. Dad, my resolution is to take better care of my skin. It's so dry. Ew.
Pops, my New Year's resolution is to work out at the gym. Go up and drink a gallon of bottled water every day.
My resolution is to take up skydiving.
Mom, you're 96.
Don't you make me get it.
Family, my resolution is to replace all our appliances that have been destroyed over the years by hard water.
Sounds like your family needs to start the new year off with installing a Connecticut water system and get a head start on all those resolutions.
This guy's making sense.
There's a reason why we say Connecticut is the last water softener you'll ever own. Call us at 656-PURE. I'll even let you try a Connecticut water system for free. We'll change your water, and it'll change your life.
The last water softener you'll ever own. Connecticut. SA.com.
Joe, I've invented the perfect exercise machine. It's practical, efficient, and fits in any home. I give you the Row and Go. Ta-da! It's a rowing machine that connects to your toilet, so you can row and...
Stop. Folks, at Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC will help homes stay in tip-top shape. Call Quarter Moon 651-5899.
Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC, 210-651-5899.
License number M16004, DACLA 000743458.
Injuries happen, and when they do, skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, dislocation, sprains, and strains. Conveniently located in the Corey area with extended hours Monday through Saturday with on-site x-ray casting and bracing. Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, and best of all, no urgent care or emergency room copay. Learn more online at tsaog.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is Jim Rome. Have a take, don't suck on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, KTFM, Floresville.
Dak and CeeDee Lamb are both up for Offensive Player of the Year. Micah and Deron Bland are both Defensive Player of the Year finalists. Texans rookies C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson Jr. are also finalists for Offensive and Defensive Rookies of the Year. Lots of awards, no championships in sight, at least for the Cowboys. We're talking awards next. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Sports Center is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas Authority in Barricade Rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
This is R&R in the morning.
Man in motion, handoff, Pollard coming right. Bang, zoom, touchdown Cowboys.
Yama about 3 feet behind the line. Got it.
It's R&R in the morning with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. He's RJ Ochoa, also known as the managing editor of Blogging the Boys. I'm Rob Thompson. Easy E. Edwin Hafner driving this boat as he always does. We got 2 hours of extraordinary talk radio coming. I just hope it's us that does it. We're glad you're here this morning. Don't mind them brake lights. We'll get you where you're going. That fog should lift eventually. Cowboys have some awards coming their direction in the next week or so. We wonder who's going to get it. Dak up for MVP. CeeDee Lamb for Offensive Player of the Year. Micah Parsons, same thing. Deron Bland, all kinds of awards coming. I will tell you this, that one of these guys is going to win something.
Robert.
You don't think CeeDee Lamb is going to get?
No, because
Tyreek Hill.
So the 3
McCaffrey.
categories. Yeah. So MVP is going to Lamar.
That's a done deal.
Offensive player of the year, if it isn't going to McCaffrey, is going to Tyreek Hill.
And who would you vote for this? Who would you like?
You'd vote. It's got to be McCaffrey. I mean,
I think so too.
You just, anyone who votes anywhere else is just being silly. And defensive player of the year, I think Duran actually probably has the strongest argument.
Yeah, I think one of these. I think Duran does, but it fizzled out. If he'd had an INT in the last couple of games, one of that different was, that mattered. I think.
He did something that had never been done before. Like, I recognize the silliness with what I'm about to say, but it's 8 a.m. on a Friday. I mean, people have had a lot of sacks before in seasons.
Right.
Like, show me something different. That being said, though, I just don't think it's enough. It's really, really, really hard to win it as a corner unless you have some like sub-average play at the edge rusher position group as a whole. That really wasn't the case. I know Stephon Gilmore won it, but yeah, Bland kind of faded. Look, these are regular season awards for anybody who's like, oh well, Dak's not even playing right now. Blah 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 blah. I mean, people forget this every year seemingly.
When did they close the polls?
Despite the fact that at the end of the regular season.
So all the votes are tabulated. There's nothing like the bad stuff that's happened didn't affect the total.
No, but I still think even then it was, I'd say the inflection point, the break point where Dallas probably lost all this was the Miami game on Christmas Eve. Because not only, and that was specifically Dak, but everything around him kind of just went with it. Not just because they lost.
He did have a drive,
because the Raven.
It's too bad.
He did have it. He had the, and had they won, I think he would have had a chance. I really do. But the fact that the defense let up certainly hindered his case, hindered CD's case for offensive player of the year, hindered Micah's case, hindered Bland's case, and that coupled with the fact that one day later on Christmas night, Lamar Jackson went and lit up the 49ers, just, changed the calculus involved.
We talk about these regular season awards, and, it's certainly a matter of discussion while it's going on. How much of the ability or, the presence of all these different Cowboys and their availability to get, different awards played into keeping McCarthy around in your mind? Like, my gosh, these guys, we got 3 dudes up here that are up for the best at their position or on that side of the ball. Or did that make it worse for McCarthy?
If you want some copium, I'll hook you up, because it's not hard to talk yourself into the Cowboys from an on-paper standpoint. And I think Saad did a great job of writing about that in the Athletic this week.
I don't know what that is.
It's, I feel like it's pretty obvious. It's the process of coping with something.
Oh, I thought it was like some kind of new medication. Like
no, it's not a real thing.
Will copium give me hot dog fingers and flashbacks?
In some respects, certainly. But they have the second team All-Pro quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people who want to move on from him because they're pissed off and they're angry. And Micah's brother Terrence called them dumbasses on Thursday on the internet. So he's back. You know what I mean? It took 10 days, but he's back. And so
can we talk about Terrence Parsons real quick? The way he's had to backtrack. All I said was he's only worth $40 million. I didn't say he was short. I just said he wasn't very tall. You can keep screaming, Terrence. We're hearing you.
Yeah, he went from, everything sucks, our pets' heads are falling off, to if you think he sucks, you're a dumbass.
All I meant was he's only worth about a quarter of what he's asking. Okay.
But so they've got the second team All-Pro quarterback. Literally the only quarterback better than him is going to win MVP and might punch a ticket to the Super Bowl on Sunday afternoon. So
that's a good thing.
That's one reason for positivity. You might have the best wide receiver on the earth in CD land.
It's hard to argue. That's another good thing.
You have one of the very best defensive players in the NFL, and his name is Deron Bland. You also have Micah Parsons on your team, the aforementioned. You also have a play caller on the offensive side of the ball who leans into the strengths of the players who we just talked about. You do have a front office who last year showed an aggressive disposition by way of roster building in terms of trading for Stephon Gilmore, in terms of trading for Brandon Cooks. Those are all very positive things. But I maintain that the absolute just poop in your pants nature of the playoff loss, it was that powerful. It was truly, I'm trying to think of another, the only example that comes to mind, were the Mavs the 1 seed when they lost to the Lakers? They were, like in whatever it was, 09, 2010. I think they were the Warriors. Thank you, Edwin. Thank you. That was the Baron Davis Warriors that they lost to. That was like kind of epic meltdown. This is sort of that. They just didn't have the expectations. I mean, it was a really mega loss. And so Saad started his write-up of this. Like, it's not like we're trying to put lipstick on a pig. Like, there was a lot of lipstick.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it was already there. It's just this washed a lot of it away. So we're trying to remember, like, hey, the lipstick was there. Or that's not the proper analogous thing. This wasn't a pig. This was never a pig that needed lipstick. You know what I mean? This was
another farm animal, but not quite as bad as the pig. I think that we're all, and that's the worst place to be. And I find the irony, as I am also a Spurs fan, that the Cowboys are dealing with problems that are entirely different. That the Cowboys have all kinds of talent. They just can't figure out how to put it together at a consistent level and beat the best teams on a regular basis. And the Spurs are bereft of talent. We can't figure out how to get the talent to come help them go get it.
I disagree with the notion that the Spurs can't figure out it. They literally have the number 1 overall draft pick, like a generational superstar.
But for 5 years prior to that, in prep for this, they have just, it appears, whiffed or gone sideways on just about every possible pick. And the Cowboys have fallen ass backwards into Deron Bland. I mean, we didn't expect that. We knew Micah was going to be good. We had an idea CD was going to be good. And
I push back on that. The evaluation of Micah completely worked out in their favor.
After
the evaluation,
the
evaluation of Micah was as an off-ball linebacker, and I know they took him at 12, but to spend a top 10 pick on an off-ball linebacker, well, I would sign up to do that right now based on the current situation, is stupid. And so they took him, and it was not until DeMarcus Lawrence had to miss the Week 2 game in LA against the Chargers that they were like, "Crap, we need a pass rusher. We'll just let Micah do it." And they were like, "Holy crap, this guy's really good at this. Let's just have him do it all the time." So yeah, I mean that's my take on this. Micah was a benefit of luck for them, not a brilliant plan unfold.
If when we see the voting for MVP and Dak's top 3,
he's going to be top 2. He's going to be number 2.
Has there ever been a situation, and I'm sure there has in the long history of the NFL, where a quarterback was MVP level during the regular season,
and everybody hated him,
and was everybody hated, but then gone within 2 years while a contract was still in play?
So this is a fun game. Last year, Patrick Mahomes won MVP. Jalen Hurts finished second. And to your point, what was the temperature around Jalen Hurts? You know, granted, he played in the Super Bowl, played really well outside of the fumble, but you know, every Eagles fan would have laid down on railroad tracks for him. You know what I'm saying? 2 years ago, Aaron Rodgers won MVP. Tom Brady finished second in voting. Obviously, the temperature around him was incredibly high. 3 years ago, Aaron Rodgers won MVP. Josh Allen finished second. Again, lots of people super pumped. In 2019, Lamar Jackson was the unanimous MVP. 2018, Drew Brees finished second in MVP voting. 2017, Todd Gurley when Tom Brady won.
There we go.
That was
all right.
Kind of a unique thing. 2016, Tom Brady was second. Tom Brady's popular name around here. I don't know if that's obvious at this point in time. But yeah, I mean, some of this is the polarization involved with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the last time the Cowboys had a player who was near the top in terms of MVP voting was DeMarco Murray and Tony Romo following the 2014 season. But to your point, in 2015, the offseason following, nobody was like, these dudes suck, get rid of them. Everybody got mad when DeMarco left, but everybody, you know, fought for them and believed in them. And that's not going to be the case with Dak Prescott. Like, I know we've talked about restructure that plan. And it does make sense based on the overall timelines of everybody involved. But it also makes an incredible amount of sense for the Cowboys to extend their quarterback who literally just played on an MVP.
When you just read the numbers and you just talk about what it takes to be an MVP and you take away the star and you take away everything else, it makes sense. And it also, it justifies, at least in Jerry's mind, I believe, keeping McCarthy around. I mean, that's enough justification right there. He turned Dak Prescott here into an MVP caliber quarterback. As mad as I am at him, as mad as I have for a lot of other stuff, at least Jerry saw that and give him credit for that, because if he's in the top 2, I'm still mad at Mike. I'm still mad.
At the very least, it makes it understandable as to why this was a difficult decision, why it wasn't a slam dunk decision, why there was, you know, and it runs counter to so many people think Jerry Jones is this rash, you know, quick to judge, whatever. Like, this is extreme patience. Now, you could certainly argue it's indifference, but I mean, you're right. Mike McCarthy and CeeDee Lamb their most powerful traits and attributes, independent of their own skills, are that they are extensions of the quarterback. They enhance the quarterback. This is a game where the quarterback play matters more than anything else by a significantly wide margin. And so if they can be the Nas on top of Dak Prescott, then that's a very good thing. I do think this is a good question from Marco in the chat. It says, why do you all think all these awards are just for the regular season? Will it ever be changed to take the postseason into consideration, or at least have separate postseason awards? I would answer that the reason they're regular season awards is because not every team plays in the postseason, and the postseason awards are the trophies.
Right.
you play for the trophy at the very end of this thing.
It's silly the way it's done, because in my mind, you should give those awards out immediately at the end of the season. Put those to bed.
Like the NBA.
Yeah, as soon as it's done, before the playoffs even get going, we're going to have an awards night. And everybody who's getting one gets it, and we put it to bed. The conversation about Dak, how can you even bring Dak to an MVP conversation? I mean, how can we legitimately go, you know what, and have this conversation today? Because we know how his season ended.
Josh Allen checks that box too. I mean, what you're going to trot him out so that I don't know who's hosting NFL honors this year, but like,
I'm sure it's Peyton.
Jimmy Kimmel or whoever could make a joke at their expense. Like, that's the whole reason we're doing this. Like, it's silly, but it is all part of the machine, and nobody is as great as generating content out of nothing than the NFL.
Did you know that yesterday afternoon, Damian Lillard was selected to an all-star team starter for the first time in his career? But he had to go east to do it.
Had to have made it.
Jalen Brunson did not. We're going to talk about the all-star recognition. I'm starting to smell a goat. 20 years of it. We'll be right back. This is R&R. Rob and RJ, RJ and Rob, depending on whose mama's reading it, they'll tell you who it is. We'll be right back here on 94.1, San Antonio's Sports Star. I want to talk about San Antonio's things. How about SA Card House? We are coming to the very end of what has been a very profitable January for a lot of players over there at San Antonio Card House. And they might not even win a game. When you go play cards, if you're a poker type, over at San Antonio Card House, the environment's going to be inviting. It's going to be safe and welcoming, and everything that you look for in a card house is there. It is Foster, the guy that runs the place. Good dude, man. Just one of us. Put together a great kitchen, put together a great environment, and then he enhanced it with the things that we love. Free money, $125,000 is by the end of the month is going to be given away in all kinds of different ways. There are 17 hot seats all day long. To win on there, you just got to be sitting and playing. And then there's multipliers for how long you've been there. 2x, 3x, they keep coming. There's $1,000 spins on a wheel. Let me tell you, it's a fun environment. It's a great environment. Whether you're new to the game and want to learn, they're welcoming. If you're good and want to go play the best, they're there. Cash games, of course. Hours of availability always. A kitchen that is ready for you. You don't need to go to Vegas. It's right here. It's SA Card House. Head over there this weekend and see what I'm talking about and win yourself some money just for being in the building. That's why you go to SA Card House, the premier card house in all of San Antonio. It's over on San Pedro, right there at Bitters Avenue, where that old Luby's is, over there on the east side of 281. You know where it is. Head over there this weekend and prove it to yourself. That's SA Card House. Go get some fun and maybe win $125,000, or at least your share of that before the end of January. You got to be there to win, and you got to play to win. Go to SA Card House today. Have yourself some fun, and thank me later.
The NFL playoffs are here.
Read all about it, baby. One last drive.
Wild card, divisional, conference championship, and Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. Hear it on your exclusive home for the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Gomez Law Firm has been taking care of the people of San Antonio for almost 50 years, the leader in personal injury law. Jose, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
We do ride-sharing cases, 18-wheeler cases. Obviously, we've done those for very many years. Work injuries. We will be happy to take a look at and see if we can help.
If you have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, then you need to visit joegomezlaw.com.
We've been around for almost 50 years, and we're not going anywhere.
Call the Gomez Law Firm at 736-4040.
Hey, poker players, the Big Blind is open. With a true Vegas feel, the Big Blind is the premier poker room in San Antonio, featuring an upscale environment catering to players from all abilities. Whether you are seeking high-octane tournaments or lively cash games, the Big Blind has a game for everyone. The Big Blind at 281 in Redland Road, just down from the road, offers daily cash games to daily, weekly, and monthly tournaments. Learn more online at the Big Blind. 1 in Redland Road.
Hey, Doc, nice office. Quick question. If you had to choose, would you give yourself a root canal or run payroll?
Run payroll, no question.
Seriously? Have you run payroll before?
Paying my team with Gusto couldn't be easier. Gusto gives me unlimited payroll runs, next day direct deposits, and automatically files my taxes. Saves me time.
Wow, that's nice.
Over here, Doc. Can I run payroll too?
Choose payroll without the pain. Visit gusto.com/radio to sign up for free.
Some people just know bundling with Allstate means big savings. Just like they know the right ingredient means big flavor. They know honey on pizza is where it's at. And olive oil on ice cream is the cherry on top. And they know when you bundle home and auto with Allstate, you can save up to 25%.
Bundled savings vary by state and are not available in every state. Saving up to 25% is the countrywide average of the maximum available savings off the home policy. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Some of those old injuries, they begin to creep up and things begin to start hurting again. I finally got to the point where I'm like, I can't just wake up and know my knee's going to be bothering me and push through this on a daily basis.
Old football injuries can't keep former college and pro football player Bobby Carpenter down. So he decided to check out the all-natural regenerative pain treatments at QC Kinetics.
I was fortunate enough to obviously sit down with QC and kind of understand your body still has the ability to heal in it. We just need to give it a little bit of a boost.
Exactly. QC Kinetics concentrates your body's own healing agents in your painful hips, shoulders, knees, or back.
Everyone can say, well, you need to replace this or replace that, but it's no surprise to see people being willing to try this first, especially when it has such great results.
QC Kinetics treatments take place the same day right in the office. No downtime. Call today for your complimentary consultation and see if you're a good candidate.
Call QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Go to nomoredraftywindows.com for full offer details.
Homeowners, this is not a drill. Do not put off replacing old, broken, drafty windows in your home one more day. Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies, can transform your home, fixing common issues like hot or cold rooms or sky-high energy bills. Renewal by Andersen's Fibrex windows and doors combine the strength and insulation of wood plus the low maintenance and durability of vinyl, guaranteed to never fade, flake, blister, or peel. These are truly your forever windows, backed by Renewal by Andersen's industry-leading warranty coverage. Just text WARM to 200-300 for your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for no money down, no payments, and no interest for a year. That's right, you don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. But hurry, these big dollar savings are only in January. Text WARM to 200-300 right now. Text the word WARM to 200-300. Don't wait. Text WARM to 200-300.
The NFL is on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
You're on San Antonio Sports Star. Happy Friday to you. Yesterday afternoon, the NBA announced their very best. The all-star starters were announced. We'll await eagerly the fill-ins, the rest, as they play out the run for the first half of the season. The way it works essentially is, the head coaches of the first place teams get to acquire the team themselves, but you get the sense that the NBA plays a bit of a role. The starters for the West include LeBron James. This is his 20th All-Star game, surpassing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most of all time. He is the second player to start an All-Star game at the age of 39, joining Michael Jordan back in 2003. He is the oldest player in the NBA, and this is the first time the oldest player in the NBA is an All-Star since the Chief, Robert Parrish, he of Centenary and Boston Celtic fame, back in 1990-91. This is also the first time that Dame Lillard has been a starter in the All-Star game as he has moved east. He and Giannis representing the Bucks, Joel Embiid and Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton filling out that five. Halliburton, it's a little bit of a changing of the guard there at the guards there on the Eastern Conference. In the West, LeBron, Kevin Durant, Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, and Shai Gilgeous, Alexander SGA, making his first start as an NBA All-Star. No Spurs.
No, not yet. But Jalen Brunson kind of snubbed.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson and Dame Lillard finished second among the Eastern Conference guards. Lillard got some votes higher. There's like three different. There's the media vote, the fan vote, bonus vote. I don't know, but they were up and down, the two of them. So one time one would be second, they'll be third, first, but whatever.
Yeah. We talk about paying the like tax around here. If you're watching on the YouTube feed, make sure you like the video. Dame got the Giannis bump. You know what I mean? I'm teammates with the best player in the NBA, and we're super awesome, and he's the captain, and we're going to get all the accolades. We're going to pick up everything because we're the moment right now. Also, did you know that Doc Rivers is our new head coach?
By the way, Luka Doncic he's the 6th player to be an All-Star 5 times before turning 25.
Don't tell that Suns fan.
He's joining Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and Isaiah Thomas to be that. Now, keep in mind, Tim can't be that because he didn't join the league till he was 22. He was a 4-year college player. That's why one of those few records that Tim didn't get to start his career because, quite frankly, he was older along with David. The second time the Bucks have had two players with Dame and Giannis, and that is primarily the reason why.
Doc's turned that around quick.
He sure has. That's one of the reasons why he's there is they do have 2 All-Stars, and they are chasing a couple of teams in the East that they seem kind of, they're close in record but distant in play is what I would say. That watching the Celtics last night just dismember the Heat 143-110 right now at the midpoint of the season or thereabouts. The Celtics are far and away the best team in basketball. On that same night, they undressed the Heat. Denver got pantsed. Their worst loss since 2015. They only scored 84 points last night. They lost by 38 points. It's the worst loss in Nikola Jokic's career and the worst loss for any team since January 2015 from the Warriors, where they lost by 43.
Speaking of, I know that you were knee-deep in some sumo, and what was the other thing that you said
the Six Nations Rugby Cup.
That's right. But did you catch any of the Kings-Warriors game?
No, I did not.
This was a treat. Dude, it's rivalry week.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't know that I would have gone Sacramento for like the Golden State rivalry, but, potato. Anyway, this was awesome. Like it was kind of an anticlimactic finish because Steph had the ball in his hands and then kind of whoops it daisied, and it was just like over in a flash. But it was a really, really fun game. Who's the best team in the West besides Denver?
Here's how I look at it as we sit right now. The team with the best, Minnesota's really good. Oklahoma City is really good. It's still Denver's to lose. I still think Denver all things fire. Right now, if you're asking me who the best team in the West is
I literally did.
I'm most afraid of the Clippers. If I'm in the West. Of all the teams, like obviously the Lakers and LeBron, but and obviously Denver because they're Denver. They're really, really good.
Right. This is the best non-Denver team in the West. So I know that's a really specific
depending on the day and who's hot, Oklahoma City and Minnesota are no slouches to me, but they're new to this party. There's something about getting further.
You're right. If I told you the Western Conference Finals, if I came back from the future, like, oh, dude, we need all the trash for the fuel. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. Give me the banana peels and stuff. If I told you the Western Conference Finals were Denver, Oklahoma City, you'd believe it. If I told you it was Denver, Minnesota, you'd believe it. If I told you it was Denver, LA, you'd be like, I can believe either one. But I think anything else is a little bit foolhardy right now.
Well, the Phoenix is one of those things. Kevin Durant's an All-Star again. This is his 14th, I do believe. He's the 11th player to be selected as an All-Star 14 plus times in NBA history. And, the other day when they were talking about MVPs, he goes like, what about me? Why am I not considered a GOAT? Why, I've been around a long time. I'm a cheat code when it comes to offense. Everywhere I've gone, I've been at least moderately successful if given time. Why not me? And if you have to ask the question, you've answered it yourself.
That's a great point. Is he your top?
He's the greatest offensive player I've ever seen.
No,
let's go get a bucket.
Right now, you can pluck any player from any team and put him on yours. Is he in your first 5 choices?
No.
That's why. That's to answer his question, though. That's all I'm saying. I mean, if we're talking about the current moment, I agree with you on Boston, though. I mean, it wasn't even close against Miami. Like this was shoot around. Like this was just this was a chill demolition. Like it didn't look. That was the really scary thing. If you don't want the Celtics to win, is it looked like they were in third gear. You know what I mean? Like they were slow cruising and just absolutely thumping the Heat.
Hey, let's talk some conference championship with a guy who knows what he's talking about.
Another Rob.
Yeah, Rob Stats Guerrero is going to join us. He's from the Gold Standard Network, and we're going to look at the finals from his perspective, and it's a good one. Who do you like? If you're a player of sorts and you know what I'm talking about, you're going to want to pay attention to this. There's money to be won if you know where to look, and Stats is going to help us. We'll look forward to a full weekend of professional football that will stack games on top of each other on Sunday. You can catch them live right here on San Antonio Sports Star. It is conference championship weekend. Let's get ready for it. That's next. You're on R&R. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on The Blitz, it is a football Friday, a championship football Friday. We're going to get you ready for the AFC, NFC championship games. It's going to be fun.
Plus, we'll talk about teams that aren't playing this weekend. John McClain will join us to talk Texans. Plus, we'll talk Cowboys with John Machota. The Blitz starts at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hi, I'm Jason Thompson. I'm a personal injury attorney, and since 1994, I've been helping people and their families seriously injured or killed by negligent drivers. My website, alawyerforus.com. I use that phrase because I know that there's no way a regular San Antonian can possibly beat $1 billion insurance company alone. You will need an experienced attorney to stand up for you and get what you and your family deserve. This month, my father will retire after 50 years of practicing law, doing what he taught me to do. Help people in need. Stand up for the people that cannot. Use the skills you have to help the people in your community when and where you can. As my father told me a long time ago, insurance companies are not trying to get to heaven. They're trying to make a profit. You cannot blame a lion for being a lion. Hire a hunter to help you. That's me. If you or a family member has been seriously injured because of a negligent driver, call me, Jason Thompson, as soon as you can after the collision. My number, 210-900-0400. That's 210-900-0400, or check out my website, alawyerforus.com.
At Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, there's something that binds us all. The collective goal to transcend the ordinary. Introducing the new Callaway AI Smoke Driver. The new AI Design Club has multiple sweet spots across the face, making it an average of 7 yards longer than the prior model. Visit us in store for a free custom fitting at your local Edwin Watts Golf Shops, or shop us online at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Jackson Hewitt has a plan to get your tax refund fast with a buck here, buck there, here a buck, there a buck, everywhere a buck.
You don't have to wait weeks for your tax refund. Get money sooner with a no-fee refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt.
On this loan, there's a money today guarantee. E-I-E-I-Do.
Don't settle for chicken feed. Get fast bucks at Jackson Hewitt today. No-fee refund advance loans by Republic Bank offered to eligible clients. Money today guarantee if approved for a loan on a prepaid card. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
My daughter is normally a little goofball, but after a bad night's sleep, she's too tired to be anything. That's why I trust Pure Z's Kids. Pure Z's Kids is mindfully formulated just for kids. Their non-habit forming, drug-free products help my daughter fall asleep naturally, giving her the rest to be her best.
I'm a dinosaur.
Her best dinosaur.
Pure Z's Kids, for ages 4 and up when needed. Explore our products at zquill.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Get deals on what you need during MVP's bonus days at Lowe's. Right now, save $20 on select 5-gallon ceiling paint or primer by HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams. Plus, get 15% off and earn 3 times bonus points when you buy 4 or more Purdy products. Because Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Discount taken in time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts of any. Valid 1/15 through 1/26. Subject to change.
No one does happy hour like Twin Peaks, with everything from tequila cocktails to extensive bourbon categories that you will not believe. Their top shelf spirits and cocktails served over those icy balls cannot be matched. Twin Peaks has you covered. And don't forget about the 29-degree man-sized drafts.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music.
news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Are you tired of going to the dentist over and over again? Hi, I'm Dr. Andrew Mueller, Chief Oral Surgeon at Doctor's Implants.
We have put a lot of money into fixing my teeth over and over and over again, a filling or a crown or a this or that.
At Doctor's Implants, replacing your teeth with full mouth dental implants might be the long-term solution you're looking for.
The 6-Hour Smile is a permanent full mouth teeth replacement. Your new smile will be custom designed to fit your face and lifestyle and will look and function just like regular teeth. You won't need to remove them from your mouth overnight, and you won't need adhesive to keep them in place. Eat freely and smile confidently again. Research them at doctorsimplants.com. Receive a complimentary doctor's consultation and CT scan when you call 210-640-0000. Again, that's 210-640-0000.
Home of the 6-Hour Smile. Hey, it's Jim Rome, and it's great to be back in San Antonio. Join me weekdays at noon on my new home, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
San Francisco looking to make do. They're due, aren't they? Let's talk about those 49ers. They got Detroit coming into Levi's with a guy who would know. We call him Stats. Rob Stats Guerrero, the gold standard, joining us. Let's look at those 49ers. I'm looking at some numbers, Stats, that I got some plays on the side. Hey, welcome aboard, man. We're glad you're here.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Is it put up or shut up time for Kyle Shanahan?
1,000%. And the message that I keep saying all week is, we have seen the 49ers at their best. I don't have to tell anybody in Texas what the 49ers look like when they are at their best. But I haven't seen that version of this team for a very long time. And Fred Warner said it yesterday, and I was so glad that he did. He said, look, the time for, we can get stuff corrected, and we'll get stuff corrected next week. That's over with. It is now time to be your best because your best is required, and that falls squarely at the feet of the head coach.
Stats, thank you for just peeing all over the place on your first seconds in. It's great to hear your voice as always. I was chatting with you about this week, and our friend Brandon Gatton, and I said I think the Niners are under the most pressure of anybody this conference championship weekend because and you just agreed it's put up or shut up time for Kyle Shanahan. If they lose this title game, who cares about going to 4 out of 5 and a Super Bowl appearance there or 3 in a row? Like, it all starts to feel really meaningless and hollow. You're the Cowboys just one round further.
That's a fair criticism. Although the 49ers also got to a Super Bowl in 2019. So it's a little better than the Cowboys. Let's not forget that. But look, that is a true thing that you can say. Eventually, you have to get it done. You get credit for getting close, but if you don't get all the way, it does sort of become a little bit hollow. But my point to you was the 49ers at least could say, hey, we might be back here next year. The Lions go decades between playoff appearances and playoff victories. So the idea that the Lions don't have any pressure on them, I don't totally believe that.
Very true. He is a Stats Guerrero, the gold standard, covering the 49ers. When I look at the game itself and I look at Purdy and start looking at some numbers bouncing around, if Purdy throws for 275 or 300 in a loss, what is that going to tell you about him and this offense? Or if he shows for 225 in a win, what does that tell you about him and the offense?
Well, it tells me that the way we grade quarterbacks is really weird, right? Like, if you're going to change your grade on Brock Purdy based on whether the team wins or loses, that seems a little strange to me. And every game doesn't have to be a referendum on his career. Now, I fully admit he was clearly not at his best last week. He was affected by the rain. I think he was affected by the rust a little bit. But he checked all of the boxes that everybody said they wanted to see from him all year long. He came from behind. He didn't have Deebo Samuel. He won the rain. Brock Purdy did. And we're still not happy. So I feel like whatever you think about Brock Purdy, people will find a way to be right based on what happens on Sunday. I don't think he's going to change anybody's opinion.
I think to that point, though, Stats, Deebo goes out and all of a sudden, Brock's kind of, zapped of his superpowers a little bit. And something else I told you that you didn't respond to, and I hope it's because you were saving it for right now, is I think we all agree that Mahomes and Lamar are on different planes than Brock Purdy. I kind of trust Jared Goff more. I kind of trust Jared Goff to be more of a risk taker, which is kind of what you need at this moment. And I'm not above admitting that certainly comes with potential flaws. But Purdy seems a little gun shy. I mean, you mentioned it. He seemed affected by the rust. Like, he doesn't seem like somebody who's willing to kind of go the full distance, where Goff is kind of willing to live in that blur.
Well, the thing that 49er fans have loved about Brock Purdy, and that Kyle Shanahan has loved about him, is that he generally, when he sees it, he lets it rip. Like, he's not hesitant to do that. But Brock himself said this week that he was tentative, was the word he used, after he throws the ball to Darnell Savage and it bounces out of his hand. He was shook a little bit. Look, we're forgetting, this is still a 24-year-old kid who's in his second season as a starting quarterback. Like, he's not, this battle-hardened veteran, but I think he started so fast that we kind of forgot about that. But he himself admitted that he was shook a little bit. So he needs to get past that. Like, he needs to figure that out, because they are going to need him to perform at a very high level. But also, let's not pretend like Brock Purdy is the only quarterback that threw a dropped interception last week. Jared Goff hit a Buccaneers defender in the end zone, square in the hands, that was dropped. But everybody seems to have forgotten about that one. It was only Brock Purdy that had dropped interceptions last week. Look, I'm not telling you Brock is Lamar Jackson, but I think that people are shorting him a little bit because he was so shaky last week.
He is Rob Stats Guerrero, the gold standard. If you're a 49ers fan, make sure you're tracking him. He gives you all the info you need. The absence of Debo, what does that mean, and who fills the void if he's not available?
Well, fortunately, I do think he's going to be available. He was limited in practice yesterday after sitting out on Wednesday. I do think he's going to play, but it's a big deal. His presence is a massive deal, because we always talk about the gravity that Christian McCaffrey has and how he influences defenses a lot, and that is true. But so does Debo. And then the combination of having two of those guys on your defense, you can absolutely put defenders in a blender, because every time you move Christian McCaffrey, you're changing the responsibility of the defender. And then when you move Debo Samuel, you're doing the same thing. And then if you do both at the same time on a play and then snap the ball, you're really confusing the defenders on the other side of the ball. So even if Debo isn't quite 100%, just the effect that he has out there on the field will really unlock a lot of things for the offense.
Stats, in the week leading up to the Dallas-San Francisco game, I asked you who was the player kind of hiding in plain sight that if the 49ers were to win, which they obviously did with authority, we would look back and say this should have been really obvious. And you said Dre Greenlaw. You completely and totally called it. So who's that dude right now? Like, who's the dude that's not generating the headlines that could have the kind of MVP-ish sort of performance on Sunday afternoon as San Francisco gets back to the Super Bowl?
Well, I would say Dre Greenlaw again, but I feel like he's gotten a lot of love this week because of the incredible game that he had last week, so I won't say that.
Tell him to go down when he gets a game-winning interception, Stats. I mean, geez, quit trying to be a hero.
I was screaming at the television to go down. That is one of the most frustrating plays. And then afterwards he said, well, Fred Warner told me I was going to get a pick six, so I was trying to get a pick six. Like, dude, no! Everyone in the stadium is telling you to go down. So that was really frustrating. I'll give a little love to Juwan Jennings, wide receiver, their third receiver for the Niners. Stepped up in a big way last week, made some massive catches. His nickname in San Francisco is Third and Juwan because almost all of his catches have gone for first downs, and he catches them on third down. He's a physical player. I don't know, everybody might have seen that, him blocking a Packers player into the Gatorade. Like, he blocks in the run game. He does sort of the dirty work for the Niners. He doesn't get the headlines because of all the other big names they have, but he's definitely a valuable contributor.
Detroit's going to bring it. We expect them to be in Purdy's face all game. And Purdy's good with the pressure. What can Detroit do to kind of get in his grill other than what they've already done?
Well, they're going to attack Colton McKivitz, the right tackle, because he's not very good for the 49ers. Aiden Hutchinson is probably going to be matched up on him all game long, and Aiden Hutchinson is going to win every single one of those matchups because Colton McKivitz is not very good, frankly. So I think they're going to find a way to get him one-on-one. And then the other area of the 49ers offensive line that you can attack is the interior. Their guards and their center are, I would say, average at best. And so I think you can overwhelm them a little bit up the middle as well if you want to go that route. The only comfort for me as a 49er fan is that has been the case all year long. This isn't a new thing for the 49ers, and for the most part, they've been able to adjust and handle that. But if you're asking me how Detroit's going to attack the offensive line, that's the way to do it.
Stats, during the tense part of the divisional round game against Green Bay. You tweeted something, I'm paraphrasing here, but along the lines of like the 49ers are getting Shanahan'd. Obviously, the end of the first half was a really tough scene for him. Is it fair to say he's the biggest potential enemy of the 49ers on Sunday? Just him kind of going galaxy brain on this whole thing?
Yes, I think so, particularly when he's matched up against an aggressive coach like Dan Campbell. Kyle Shanahan coaches to avoid the worst case scenario rather than trying to achieve the best case scenario. He doesn't see the difference in those two things. He's always content to just avoid the worst case scenario. Remember what he said in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs when he butchered that before the half? He said, "Oh, I was totally cool going into the halftime 10-10. You what? You're against Pat Mahomes. That makes no sense. But Kyle, I don't know if it's shell shock from the Super Bowl with the Falcons and the Patriots or what the problem is, but he coaches in his fears a lot. And that is my biggest concern, especially if the game is close, because those decisions matter more when the score is close, obviously. And I don't have confidence in Kyle Shanahan that he's going to make the right one.
Stats, I don't have to remind you how that Super Bowl ended for the 49ers. They've actually lost Super Bowls to both the teams playing in the AFC Championship game. So if San Francisco is able to get through, who would you ideally have them face?
Yeah, this is like just a nightmare question, but it is the Super Bowl, so I got to pick one. I guess I would pick the Chiefs, only because the Ravens are really good on both sides of the ball, and this is the weakest version of the Chiefs offense that we have seen with Patrick Mahomes. Now, I also think it's the best Chiefs defense, unfortunately, but I don't think the Ravens have any weaknesses. And at least with the Chiefs, I could say they've had trouble at times scoring points, but that is a nightmare scenario no matter who you pick.
Coming into the game, watching these two teams, they're both, the Lions and the 49ers are great after the catch, after the run. They both break tackles and move the ball. The 49ers are surprisingly, there's some issues against the run. Do you think Detroit, if they focus, can run on the 49ers?
Yes, I do think they're going to be able to run. They'll be able to run up the middle. And the Niners have had a lot of trouble on runs to the outside lately, too. And I thought it was really interesting. Their defensive coordinator, Steve Wilks, said yesterday, it's not the defensive line's fault. He said it's the linebacker's fault for getting too wide and creating lanes for running backs to cut back in. It really surprised me because he's basically throwing Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw under the bus a little bit. So we'll see if that changes. But when you go back and watch the Packers game, you can see he's right. Multiple times, 57 and 54 are flying way out wide, and the running back has basically just one to beat, and then it's off to the races. And that's exactly what happened on Aaron Jones' 54-yard run last week.
Stats, the Gold Standard Network is the best place in the world and on the internet, because those are two different places. When it comes to San Francisco 49ers coverage, let us know where to find you and your plan. You'll be streaming live post-game, et cetera, so we all know exactly where to find you. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, you just search Gold Standard 49ers podcast on YouTube. It pops right up. We're live every single weekday. We do a 5-minute news update in the morning to get you caught up on everything you need to know. And of course, we'll be live streaming right after the game on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch. As soon as the game ends, just fire us up. We'll be there broadcasting, hopefully celebrating another Super Bowl journey.
Well, we're celebrating you. He's Rob Stats Guerrero with the Gold Standard Network, stopping by with the knowledge. Thanks for the insight, man. I think I know where my money's going.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
Be well, Stats.
Looking at the numbers here, I was surprised at how both teams are expecting to be able to run the ball. Both of them are coming into it with a game plan. They both have eyes on 120 yards on the ground.
Yeah, I trust that. I don't know. All week long, I'm still going to pick Detroit, but I've been leaning the Lions and leaning. But Stats spooked me. I mean, I'll be honest. It's kind of like I forgot all the great things about the Niners. I was caught up in the Lions of it all. But I mean, it sort of feels like I don't know that they're going to need 120 yards, but they're going to need some explosive Jahmyr Gibbs plays. They're going to have to get those big money moments, or else they're just going to die a slow death at the hands of this machine.
As we head into the conference weekend, it doesn't feel like a dynasty of any sort for the 49ers. I mean, granted, they've been there and they've won a lot of games recently, but there's no real dynasty in play other than trying
the Chiefs?
Well, no, for the 49ers. Now, the Chiefs, on the other hand, if they don't get this, where on the list of dynasties are they? And if they do get this, where do they land? Because they're landing pretty much at the top. if they continue to win through. Let's look at dynasties coming up. Where would the Chiefs rank as a dynasty if they won it this year? Where would the 49ers go if they don't? Are they just a has-been kind of team? I think that the 49ers are nothing more than a really good football team. I think the Cowboys look at them in a very different light than other teams.
Well, because they get smoked by them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and so it's a weird juxtaposition, but you're right. Like, and I meant what I said. Like, they're just the Cowboys around further. That's who they are. I mean, and cool, you own the Cowboys, but you don't own anything else.
Can you envision the firestorm occurring in San Francisco if it is a lopsided Detroit win on the road? Could ownership come in and go, you're gone, we're changing this, we're doing this? I mean, is it time for a radical change with the 49ers if they're not successful yet again?
I think they'd probably, I think John Lynch would be a fall guy before Kyle Shanahan.
Really?
Because Kyle Shanahan is, he cooks it all. I mean, he's the head chef. John's just the sous chef. But I mentioned that tweet to Stats, and like during the divisional round game, I looked at the replies to that, and there were all these people, because it looked grim for San Francisco, all these people who were like, it's year 7 for Kyle Shanahan, he's got to go, because they were, kind of acting as if they were going to lose. So yeah, I don't think it's when it's almost worse when you get close and close and close and close. And I mean, look at the Cowboys and like the kind of tension that's brewing, but the Niners even further, like you can see it, you can see the finish line, so often. And, the Cowboys have a divisional round bugaboo, but if the Niners have a bugaboo as well, who cares what it is or where it is? If you have it, you got to get rid of it.
We talk about Dak Prescott in ways that we think his career is over and we don't want to look at him anymore. And I know Purdy is starting his career, but the output, over the last 5 years has been essentially the same for the two. A couple of more playoff wins, but really not much. With a devastating loss, is Purdy? It'll certainly cost him some money, I think, in the long run. But is he good long term there, or will this be one of those pivot points where they go, we might not now, but maybe we should start looking?
I think the context matters. You asked what would happen if they got blown out, and that would obviously, muddy the waters. But it's important to note, I think, that he doesn't really have a playoff loss. I mean, the only playoff loss he had was when he was injured and he didn't play. And, it's charged to him, but it wasn't really his fault. So it would be interesting to, along those lines, kind of see how fans would react to him having an actual playoff loss that he was responsible for.
I'll be honest. I thought that Stats was a little bit more salty about his team than I expected. I didn't think that there was that big of a magnifying glass on them, because as a Cowboy fan, I look at them as the big bad monster. They're far more successful. We pray to be in a situation that the 49ers are. Yet a loss, there's going to be some change up there.
Stats is the most astute 49ers analyst I know, and he's critical and comes from a place of love and care, obviously. But I think it's we're a little bit distracted as like a football fandom by the Chiefs and the Ravens and the Mahomes and Lamar matchup and everything. And then on this side, we're just kind of falling in love with the Lions. But I mean, again, I think Stats has seen them fall short. And to your point, we only see the Kyle Shanahan great moments because that's all there is against the Cowboys. But this is he is the offensive coordinator who was in charge of the 28-3 team that lost. He is the head coach of the Super Bowl who played down to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl and lost. I mean, he has a tendency, an undeniable sample size that is legitimate enough to make a serious claim off of folding in big moments. And I completely agree with Stats. He is kind of a coward. He is somebody who is more afraid to lose than he desires to win. And we've seen that play itself out in big moment after big moment after big moment.
Coward, conservative.
Coward with a capital C. Or conservative with a capital C. Either one. He's a coward.
I'm looking at some crazy numbers, and we look back at the Lions, and Dan Campbell.
They're not cowards at all.
Well, Dan Campbell, we're taking the flip. We're calling. We want the ball. We look at the Packers. If we win the flip, we want the ball. No longer deferring. That's a thing of the past. This deferral thing. I'm looking at numbers. If you win the flip, you better get the ball. First team to win.
Just be careful. People hear you referring to the flip. They have no idea what you're talking about.
The coin flip, the toss,
the coin flip. Yeah, I mean, that's like, I don't think Kyle Shanahan responds well to getting roughed up and punched in the mouth. When they're so used to being the bullies that when somebody comes to town or somebody bullies them, look at the way that they just kind of completely collapsed against Baltimore on Christmas night. So they kind of depend on playing from ahead. Earlier this season, Stats called the Niners front runners. I mean, they're monsters, when they're playing from ahead and they can just kind of punch down on you. But when they have to really face some adversity, granted they sort of did last week, they're not the same, Thanos level machine. And that's what makes Dan Campbell so dangerous is he acts like he is all the time.
Right.
And so, when the game lends in his favor, all of a sudden the calculus involved changes. And so you have a coach who wants to just die on the sort of aggression, and you have a coach who's afraid to even look that way. It does kind of, spell advantage for Detroit in that sense.
The Lions have opted to receive 4 times this season when winning the flip, and they're 4-0 in those games. The Ravens did it twice. They're 2-0, including their last game against the Lions. The Chiefs have used the strategy under Mahomes in 22 in week 10, and they won. And the 49ers haven't done it once under Shanahan.
It's conservative. I think you're starting to kind of buy this a little bit
Yeah.
and pick this up. He's a coward, and he's a brilliant coward, but he is undeniably a coward.
I'd like to be described as a brilliant coward. This was Purdy's first full season starting. Look at what he's done. 9.6 yards per attempt is the most in NFL history with a minimum of 400 attempts. He set 49ers pass yards records was 4,280 over Montana Young. He became the first 49ers quarterback to throw 3 TDs in a season since Jeff Garcia back in 2001.
One of my all-time favorite non-Cowboys quarterbacks.
We
Jeff
will
Garcia.
probably see Jeff Garcia at the Super
he's
Bowl, as
shredded.
we always do. Don't forget, our Super Bowl coverage is just around the corner. A week from Monday, we're going to be coming at you live from Las Vegas and all that brings, and we want to make sure we take you with us. It's going to be completely crazy, and as we head out powered by AA Best Bail Bonds and Synergenics Low T and Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, it's going to be a good time. We can't wait to see the old 49ers, and I'm guessing they're going to be there. We're going to make our picks in the next hour.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been leaning Detroit. I'm probably going to go there, but I have a little bit of time left to, we're in the 11th hour, so to speak. And I'm excited to make a pick. I'm excited to lean one direction
or the other. We still got a whole hour of fun as we close down a fun week of sports. Coming back, let's look at those Spurs. The Trailblazers are here. This is a win in the waiting, or is this just another reason for excuses? Spurs, Trailblazers tonight. We'll look at it as the Silver and Black continue their trek to a whole bunch of ping pong balls in the lottery. Hold on, more to come. This is R&R, and you're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The Sports Star boys are headed to Vegas for the big game.
Remember, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
February 5th, Robin RJ and Jason and Joe are heading to Sin City and Radio Row for the big game with security provided by AA Best Bail Bonds.
Let's go to Vegas. We'll all get drunk and
Woo!
I think you gonna get away with it. Not up in here. Not up in here.
Powered by AA Best Bail Bonds, Synergenics, Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The John Clay Wolf Show. Here's what's going on in the Wolf Pack.
You got to be super organized to drive an electric vehicle, man. I ran it down to 0 miles remaining just as I pulled up into the parking lot.
I see 3 extension cords coupled together running several hundred feet out into a parking lot. You guys are ghetto. The whole world's going to look ghetto with these cables running around and cars slung all over the place.
The John Clay Wolf Show, every Saturday morning.
Catch the John Clay Wolf Show, Saturdays from 9 a.m. to noon, right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Hey, it's Michael Fabiano. The playoffs are here. The stakes are higher than ever. And there's no better way to turn playoff football's big game energy into 100 times your money than Prize Picks. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's that easy. You could turn $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Get in the lab and join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million football fans who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks is matching your first deposit up to $100 when you download the Prize Picks app and use code PRIMETIME. That's code PRIMETIME on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Well, family, this new year is off to a great start. Everybody, how are those New Year's resolutions?
Dear, my resolution is to cut my damaged hair and just start over.
Dad, my resolution is to take better care of my skin. It's so dry. Ew.
Pops, my New Year's resolution is to work out at the gym. Go up and drink a gallon of bottled water every day.
My resolution is to take up skydiving.
Mom, you're 96.
Don't you make me get it.
Family, my resolution is to replace all our appliances that have been destroyed over the years by hard water.
Sounds like your family needs to start the new year off with installing a Connecticut water system and get a head start on all those resolutions.
This guy's making sense.
There's a reason why we say Connecticut is the last water softener you'll ever own. Call us at 656-PURE. I'll even let you try a Connecticut water system for free. We'll change your water, and it'll change your life.
The last water softener you'll ever own. Connecticut. SA.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey everyone, gather round. It's time for corny jokes about passing the torch.
The team at Kirian's Welding was fused together solid.
Thanks for all the late nights and early shifts.
But double retirements mean the crew must bond with some certified new hires.
You've both gone the extra millimeter.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
They're local, they're San Antonio, and they know sports. They're R&R in the morning, KTFM Floresville, and SASportsStar.com. San Antonio's Sports Center.
Your San Antonio Spurs are jumping back into the arena one more night against the Trailblazers. As they come into town, they're bringing their third overall pick, Scoot Henderson. There hadn't been much. Wemby continues his chase for the All-Stars. It's going to be a late game. Tip will be at 8:30. Trey Jones is questionable. It's a conference championship weekend. Games you can catch live here on San Antonio Sports Star.
This Sports Center update is brought to you by Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 100% satisfaction guarantee. This is R&R in the morning.
Man in motion, handoff, Pollard coming right. Bang, zoom, touchdown Cowboys. Wembanyama about 3 feet behind the line, got it.
It's R&R in the morning with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa.
Good morning. Good morning to you. He is RJ Ochoa, dressed just like a Greek guy that's 7'2". I'm Rob Thompson, dressed like a middle-aged white guy in a gray shirt. Welcome aboard to the last hour of R&R for the week. A triumphant week as it has been, and we're coming in tonight. This is the best weekend of professional football of the year. We got 4 great football teams that have earned their way. There's not a single one of these 4 has fallen ass backwards here. Some have had other issues, but for the most part, I think we got the 4 best teams playing in the NFL, and we can't always say that.
You really think they're the 4 best?
I do. I do think we got the 4 best football teams going right now. Who would be, what, the Rams?
I mean, I think it would have been the Cowboys. I mean, I recognize how stupid
True.
that sounds, but
you're right.
It would have been them, and they ruined it, and they deserve to be mocked and ridiculed for that.
But it is a logical end. I mean, in a logical, if it's not the Cowboys, which, if we got 100% of them, they would have been. But we got the Cowboys team that we saw leave is the team that is 5th. You know what I mean? The Cowboys team that won before, that's a top 3 team. But as a whole, I think we're where we want to be. We don't always,
I suppose. But I think these are maybe not the 4 best teams from the season. If I could reshape your wording, I would say the 4 most deserving teams to be here right now. And I'd say that I'm pretty content with any Super Bowl that we can yield out of this.
As we look forward.
Like there's always or not always, but there are oftentimes a team that you don't want to see win, right? You're like, oh, I don't want
Just yet again, no more Patriots.
Like,
my gosh, how many rings you need kind of stuff.
Then you get into like the weeds, like, well, I don't want the Steelers to win because I don't want them to have more than the Cowboys. And that's why I always thought it was silly that Michael Irvin, preferred the Eagles winning to the Patriots winning. Like, it depends what, pick your cup of tea. I suppose, like, at this point, I'm unfazed by the Niners winning as a Cowboys fan. Like, okay, they get to 6, cool. So what? It's already been done. Like, you can't hurt me with that anymore. I think I'd probably prefer the Ravens to win the most out of the Final Four.
We'll talk about our picks here in about 15 minutes and some plays maybe to make yourself some money. But the Spurs playing host to the Portland Trailblazers, who are coming in tonight, coming off a loss 3 nights ago. To the Oklahoma City Thunders, where one that they quite frankly should have won. The Spurs were beaten easily by that same Thunder team. So we've got two teams with an opponent in common. One played them a little bit better than the other, but here we sit. The Trailblazers come in with a number 3 overall pick, Scoot Henderson, who can't get off the bench and is playing as bad as any rookie is. There's lots of blame to go around, but on the other side of that, Wemby is playing as good as any rookie is or has in the last several years. The numbers don't lie. But as we come into this weekend, it appears to me that San Antonio and Spurs fans have reached the end of the first part of the process, that we are ready and are requesting and desperately need results or some kind of movement toward those results. And we haven't gotten them. In fact, we are worse today with Wemby by 4 or 5 games than we were this time last year. We are obviously worse. It is not even a question about gameplay, and we're barely more talented, yet we should be far more talented.
13-31 through 44 last year. 8-36 right now.
Yesterday,
just a tough scene, man.
And I think from universally, I saw Don Harris yesterday on News 4 saying some of the things that we're hearing from our listeners, that we are hearing from inside this booth, from other guys, from Joe and Jason, myself, and you. It is universally, we're reaching a pivot point, a time where fans are going to start to demand answers and change. Yesterday, Sean Elliott joined the Blitz. And I think the worst thing about what Sean Elliott did in the middle of an extraordinary, honest, and very forthright conversation with Jason and Joe was to reflect what our greatest fear is. And our greatest fear is exactly what we think is going on is going on.
That's the great, is it Nelson Cruz question that is asked in Coach Carter? Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. It is that we are more powerful beyond our comprehension. So
that's not a problem.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, you win the lotto, you take Wemby. We all understand the parade isn't tomorrow, right? We're all willing to be patient. We've come this far, but you've got to show some life, some improvement. And to your point, and to Sean's point, there's been regression. There's been regression in terms of just basic fundamental basketball, Wemby aside. So, okay, cool. You're telling us that we got the amazing dude. Awesome. You're telling us that the amazing dude is playing amazing. Okay, that checks out. That's going rather chalk. So you would think that the rising tide would lift all the boats, but there's no rising tide. The boats are further out from land, and everyone's just lost at sea at this particular point. What is going on? I mean, it doesn't make sense to be this bad, this poor, getting this blown out, this worked by all these other teams. If you're losing, again, really upset about this, but if you're making it close, if you're losing because other teams are just, better than you at the very end, they're hitting some buzzer beaters, we can make peace with that. But you're nowhere close. You're playing a different sport than these guys right now.
It feels that way. And Cougs on our YouTube chat, how much value would you put into people bringing their A game in compared to last year? I do think there's something to that. I'm not saying this is happening in a vacuum. You've got superstars. Well, you got Embiid hanging 70 on Wemby. I mean, they circle Wemby. They might not circle the Spurs, but they know the world is watching when the next rolls in the building, and they are getting a little bit more. And there's also something to the fact that I might be a bad team in Memphis, or I might be a bad team in Charlotte, but I ain't as bad as the Spurs. So I'm going to circle them. I might not win every game, but I'm beating those fools. So I do think you get circled in that way too. Like I might not show up on a normal Tuesday night when it's Milwaukee because I'm going to get beaten no matter what I do.
Right.
But tonight it's the Spurs. I'm going to get mine. So I do think that they face a little bit more than they did last year, obviously.
Yeah, I don't have to outrun everybody. I just have to outrun one person, and that's you.
The Spurs are the snack right now. They are getting outrun, and I think that they're paying the price for that. But as a whole, I think we're looking at a team that is not any better. And I think one of the classics that when we look back on this season in the future, we go, what was weird and why were we so bad? The first thing we're going to bring up was that weird point guard experiment that Pop employed to start the season. Jeremy Sohan, who never even started for Baylor until late in his sophomore year, was given the reins and the responsibility to keep the next great NBA basketball superstar fed and happy, and it was an utter failure. This is Sean on Sohan.
Well, the idea was to have a big lineup, and if you could have a big point guard out there who could defend other guards, and you could also exploit that size on the offensive end of the floor, it was a win-win situation for us. But it's hard to make a playmaker into a point guard. I remember Hank Egan, who was Pop's coach, by the way, at the Air Force Academy and then assistant here for years. We were having that conversation many years ago, and Hank Egan, I'll never forget what he said. He said, only God makes point guards.
True that.
And he's right.
True that.
It's just really difficult to kind of instill that mindset, that way of thinking into somebody who doesn't quite have that, that kind of floor general, the floor court awareness, management, flow of the game, all those things put together. So it's the most demanding position in the game, and it's tough. And so, if you have a point guard, a big point guard that isn't able to dominate smaller point guards, like a Gary Payton type of thing where you can post him, you can play out of him, he can make all the right passes, then it becomes difficult. And so I know what they were trying to do, and in theory, I mean, it was a great thought. It definitely was. I mean, I was excited to see Jeremy at that point guard position and see what he could do, but it didn't really suit him. And so when you put Trey back in the starting lineup and see where things run a lot smoother, even Jeremy said himself where he feels like he's himself again. You can see in his body language. I think throughout the first 25 games or so.
That was Sean Elliott yesterday on the Blitz. And if you want to hear the entire conversation, it was deep, it was insightful, and really worth the look. Go to sasportstar.com. It's in our audio vault brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. Spend about 20 minutes and hearing from a guy who's been straddling the fence. He's one of us now, but he's been inside the building. And I think he said some things that we were all very worried might actually be true. Like, hey, man, we might not be very good talent-wise. Like this, I mean, no matter how much we love the nice guys of Devin and Keldon, they just don't measure up to the rest of the NBA. They're just not on equal footing. They're not as good, and they're ignorant. They're not able to pick up the skill sets that are required to get better. There are things that Pop's been able to do in the past that he can't do. And then we get to this Sohan thing, which was by game 4, we all were looking around like, this ain't going to work. This isn't going to work. And he kept trying to cram a square peg into a round hole. And then we hear from Sean Elliott that his mentor, and Pop has talked about Hank Egan a lot. This is a guy that he looks to as his North Star. This is who I am as a coach. These are the things that I embody because of Hank Egan. And Hank Egan told him, look, point guards are made by God, not by Pop or me. But you had the arrogance to go, you know what, though? I'm going to play him, and I'm going to do it for 2 months. I'm going to do it over and over and over. And you know what the outcome of that was? Stunt growth for both. You slowed the train. You slowed it to a near stop by trying something that you knew from the get-go that had a 1% chance of success. At best.
the weird thing is you slowed the train when the primary goal here is just to get the train to move as fast as possible.
Yes.
The goal isn't, the cosmetic value of the train. The goal isn't, what materials the train is carrying. The goal right now is just literally get the train moving as fast as possible. We need the log boost things that the Doc and Marty threw in Back to the Future Part 3 to get back to 1985. Right? Like that's the goal, is get the train moving as fast as possible. And so without expounding upon the intricacies of playing the point guard position, this is literally about your job is to get Wemby the basketball. That's it. Like you are an existing physical assist. That's all you are, is you are meant to distribute the ball to Wemby. That's it.
That's it.
And that's literally it. And so the fact that this was overcomplicated in the name of what? Like developing a point guard for the future? This isn't that. Well, like we're just wasting time. And if you want that, then trade for DeJounte or trade for Trae Young or do something. Like if you really want some sort of facilitator, go get one of the point guards that God made, because the one you're working on ain't it. This isn't some lab where you can cook this up. It's not working.
And the idea, did we draft him to do that? Did we draft Sohan when he was brought in? Did we go, there's our point guard of the future? Now, if you'd have told me that when we brought him in and said, yeah, this cat is raw. And by the way, he's from Poland. This cat is raw. He is a sixth man at Baylor. He wasn't even a starter. We're going to take him early because we see in 3 years he could be a point guard. That's not what we were told. We brought him in. He goes, this is a glue guy. This is a guy who demands nothing but will give you everything. He will get the rebound. He will lead the break. He'll make a pass or two. He will defend. Well, what we did was stunt his growth by putting him in a situation. And Rudy, you're right. He is a better passer. But that's like saying, you know what? I'm a forced vegetarian. I can't find any meat, but I do appreciate cauliflower now. Well, yeah. You don't get any meat. That's all you got. So, yeah, he's a better passer. He ain't a better player. We have reached a point when I hear Sean Elliott talk about things that are going on with Pop, we're acting like this is the conversation we have after he's left. And oh, by the way, did you know? And oh, they don't even know how to run plays. And oh, by the way, we moved him over here. Well, that's why guys get fired. That's why they retire.
Interestingly,
it's getting old. It's getting old.
Interestingly, as dysfunctional as they are, the Spurs are favorites tonight.
They should be. This is the first time in weeks that we have seen a team that has the talent level the Spurs have. A bunch of cast-offs and maybes.
2.5-point favorites. You taking that?
Yes.
You lay in 2.5 points on the Spurs tonight?
I'm laying on it because I think that this organization has come to the realization that, oh no,
it's astounding to me that you can have this, you ever do any one of those prep meals? You know what I mean? Like HelloFresh or whatever. Yeah. So you got one of those, but like Bobby Flay cooked the steak. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like you got like the hardest thing was done for you. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, all you got to do is heat up the mac and cheese, throw the asparagus in a pan, sprinkle the seasoning that we put in the pack on, and your meal is great. And somehow this tastes horrible.
You decided you were gonna elevate something and you ruined it. You were gonna make Sohan a point guard. You ruined it.
You were like, I really think that sour cream should go on the steak that Bobby Flay cooked. I really, just trust me. That's my instinct. You not only have the generational player, you have him playing elite basketball. He's fulfilling the prophecy, so to speak. He has 24 points in 6 straight games. He is the first-year player in NBA history to do that since Jalen Green, since Zion Williamson, and since Tim Duncan. That's it. Only 3 times this entire century has a first-year NBA player dropped 24 points in 6 straight games. They've won 2 of them. I will give them credit for that. So you're riding, a 33% win percentage in that particular run, but that's what he's capable of. And so not only are you wasting time developing Jeremy for who knows what reason, but in parallel, if you think parallel is a proper, kind of way to look at this, you're limiting Wemby. So like you don't properly with this like potential weird smorgasbord sour cream steak point guard of the future. Like, there's no cohesion. There's no collective plan. Nothing is happening that you can point every direction or every arrow in one direction and say, this is the end goal. The only end goal that is identifiable right now is be good in the future. That's it. Like it's the widest possible net, because that's the only thing that is identifiable with them right now. Nothing they're doing makes sense.
Now there is some good news. I mean, it is not all terrible.
Ooh, I'm sorry. Coog says we've definitely put A1 on the Wagyu cut.
Oh,
no.
There we go. There's lots of draft picks in the future.
Pop approves.
And a whole lot of money in the bank. There is something worthy of, well, I'm not going to say I'm not hopeful for the immediate future, but I want to leave with this. Sean did give us reason to look forward to the future. It ain't all negative, at least in his mind.
The biggest thing I've seen is what has come from Victor, because he's a sponge, and I tell everybody he's just an anomaly. He's a really smart young man. He wants to be great. He wants to put the work in. And there were several examples. Like, there was one example in the Clipper game when we were playing early on, where he was open in the low block and there was nobody on his back. And this is when we really had trouble just finding him on the court. And instead of holding that position, he just kept gravitating out to the wing. His defender finally caught up to him, and he caught the ball, 15, 16, 18 feet away from the basket when he already had position. Now he's done a better job holding position. Figuring out his footwork. He's got these spin moves, and he's around the low block where if he's feeling pressure on one side or the other, he spins away from it, and he's constantly open for lobs. When our guys adjust even more to that, he's going to be even more dangerous. But he's learning how to use his body more. He's getting to the free throw line a whole lot more. So he's figuring that out, and it's been rapid. And so that's nice to see. His shot selection is better. The only time I really see him take a forced shot is when he hasn't touched the ball in 3 or 4 or 5 possessions down the court, and he's trying to inject himself in the game. And so that to me is perfectly understandable.
Sean doesn't have a lot to say about the rest of the dudes, man. We'll break this off. The only reason we have to look forward is Wemby. That is it. There is nothing else on this roster worthy of future appreciation. Now, some of these guys can come along for the ride, but the future is solely in number one's hands. We're halfway through his rookie season, and we are only now starting to scratch the surface of what he's capable of. And the fear is now his teammates are in the way. They're not helping him get there. We just heard Sean say again, he's always open for lobs.
I only saw It's a Wonderful Life for the first time last Christmas. Not the Wham last Christmas, but like 2022. And It's a Wonderful Life it up. Imagine the non-Wemby life right now. Imagine if it was Scoot.
There's more wins. We had more wins in the non-Wemby life.
No, but it's strange how the Wemby experience has sort of exposed them. You know what I'm saying? Like I think they'd be hidden a little bit more with the non-generational player. But Wemby and his greatness has exposed their lack of abilities, which is a weird thing to be true, but it is nonetheless.
They are now the tallest blade of grass on a shorter lawn. Everybody sees it, warts and all. And we are very much in that light. Hey, we got a lot to continue with. You got grievances. You heard mine. What are yours? We're going to do that just after 9:30, but coming up.
What did you save? That was your...
We're making our picks and looking forward to a week in Vegas as RJ and I will head out there along with the Blitz. We'll see who we'll be covering next. This is R&R. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The NFL playoffs are here.
Read all about it, baby. One last drive.
Wild card, divisional, conference championship, and Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. Hear it on your exclusive home for the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. Know your T levels If you have low T, your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Hey, this is Rob Thompson here for Prize Picks. I want to tell you about Prize Picks. For those of you guys that like to play and watch games a lot of different ways, there's lots of different ways to enjoy it. I've been a fantasy football player since the very beginning. Heck, I made my bones playing fantasy football, and Prize Picks is the first one that truly suits me. If you're a DFS player, there's no better place to go than Prize Picks because my knowledge matters. This is a game of skill, and I'm not worried about entire teams. I'm worried about my favorite player, my team, my league. All I got to figure is where he might be, where she might be, pick over, under, combine them with other players, get some prize picks, get some fun, but at the same time, use my knowledge. It's Prize Picks, and if you go to prizepicks.com, throw the word Alamo in there for your little promo, I'll tell you what, you're going to make a little bit of extra, get a little bit going, but I'll tell you what, Prize Picks is the one place I have found I can take my fantasy love and take it to the game. That's Prize Pick. Download today, use Alamo, and I know you're going to thank me later.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
We're honoring the pursuit of brews and barrel-aged bourbon every Friday at our Bourbon and Brews Party. Head over to Twin Peaks Fridays from 5 to 7 and experience a lingerie costume party paired with exceptional bourbons, tastings, and giveaways. Cheers!
Hi, Jason Minix here from The Blitz. With the NBA season in full swing, you want in on the action? Go download the Underdog Fantasy app and start playing the Pick'em game, which is a ton of fun to play. It is fantasy, but you can win real cash money, and it is legal in Texas. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build your Pick'em entry, and all you have to do is select whether they will be higher or lower on their stats. If your picks hit, you can win up to 100 times your money. It certainly makes watching our local basketball team or your favorite players a lot more interesting. Underdog is super easy to play and get started. Download the easy-to-use mobile app or go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with my promo code STAR and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Plus, they'll give you a special pick of higher than half a total yard to use on your first Pick'em entry. Must be over 18 and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or go to ncpgambling.org.
20 ribeyes for $39. The Backyard Butchers are here right now with 20 ribeyes for only $39. That's less than $2 a steak. Just look for the Big Red Truck at South Park Mall, Rolling Oaks Mall, Ingram Park Mall, Village at Stone Oak, Town Center at Creekside and New Braunfels, and Tractor Supply in Bernie and Pleasanton. Just look for the Big Red Truck to get 20 ribeyes for only $39. For a limited time, 20 king crab legs for $39. Go to backyardbutchers.com for more locations.
Howdy, San Antonio. This is Andrew Monaco, and you're locked on the home of the Aggies, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was beef. That was Beth. It's Rob and RJ on a Friday. Heavily caffeinated and eager for a 48-hour break. We're almost done here, but we are heading toward a conference championship weekend that is brought to you by Flat Life by Yingling right here all Sunday long. It's going to be a good one. I'm going to head over to Tri-County. I'm going to do I've changed my menu. I have a special request. I'm doing Bronto ribs. I'm doing some beef ribs. I'm going to get a big old side of beef ribs and a big pot of beans and a variety of small poppers and things from the prepared side of Tri-County. That's when it's going to be my Sunday. Looking forward to it.
How do you eat your poppers? You ever go hand?
Right in, man. I got a year ago, I got my own little popper making. It's got the little pull the seeds out, and it's got the whole thing. So I started to make my own poppers. Why? As good as I can make them, I'm not as good as Tri-Cat. I'm just not. They make them better.
Think, poppers I've never made my own, but they seem like making sushi. Like, I'm sure it's a fun, maybe it's more about the vibe and it's a fun process. Maybe you go to like a sushi making class. It's probably cool and whatever, but it's just not worth the time.
Are you a cheddar
return
cheese
on investment?
Oh yeah. Are you a cheddar cheese or a sour cream type?
Sour cream.
Yeah, me too. I am going to do some shotgun shells. That is going to be the one thing that I do. And that's when you boil pasta and you get that hamburger sausage mix and you shove it in the pasta, wrap it in bacon, cover it with your best barbecue sauce, grill it up. It is phenomenal.
You do the cliche thing when you cook that I appreciate. You have the towel, shoulder towel.
You got to have the shoulder towel. And it's a necessity. It's a tool, man. You use it for, you can put out fires with it. You can wipe your brow. You can clean your fork. You can.
The best part about the shoulder towel is like, so you having company over, whatever, and you're done cooking. Everyone's kind of eating, and someone comes and like puts their hand on your back, like, "Hey, Rob, how you doing?" Like, this dude's soaking.
Is that sweat or grease? Both.
Yeah. What's on your back? Like, what's
you need the towel. So to be a great griller, you need the towel. You need tongs that are about 6 feet long. You need tongs that are so long you can reach like from one car to another and pull something out. You need really long tongs, and you need the proper shoe attire. We call them Air Dads. There is a specific Nike. They're called the Monarch. If you see the Nike Monarchs, the Air Dads, or there's a New Balance. If you see a New Balance or a Nike or an Air Monarch or those two, if you see your cook wearing those, you're in good shape. But he's got to have a towel. Got to be kind of no Crocs. Okay, but here I'll discount Crocs because sometimes I'm cooking with some embers and some charcoal where things fly out. I don't want my feet burnt. So if you're cooking with Crocs, that tells me
what you're. I mean, how hazardous is your cooking?
Hey man, fire, baby. I have a relationship, a love affair with fire. I mean,
who's going to be winning these games?
What games? It's all about the food. In my mind, I have a feeling we are going to be covering a 49er Baltimore Raven.
Bold take, Rob. Nobody thinks that.
I think
you're
in my mind, we are going to be
this is really brave of you.
A 49er Baltimore Raven Super Bowl. We're going to see a dichotomy of quarterbacks from East and West. I think that the 49ers are going to live up to expectations, and they're going to dispatch the Detroit Lions. And it won't be easy, but it's not going to be as hard as a lot of people think. And I think a lot of this will be because Dan Campbell shoots himself in the foot. I think his over-aggressiveness is going to get him. And while Kyle Shanahan is, by all evidence, a coward, I think that this part, it is going to play for him well, because I think Campbell will do something stupid or make a bold move where he shouldn't. And on the other side of that, I think it is destiny that Lamar Jackson gets to the Super Bowl, considering what he went through last year.
There are times where you have to, what I call, live in the blur. Mm-hmm. And by that, I mean, sometimes you play a video game or something like that, and there's a lot happening, and your vision kind of starts to blur.
Right.
And if you focus your vision, you kind of lose it. You have to maintain life in the blur. You have to be uncomfortable in the blur. Kyle Shanahan is terrified of the blur.
Interesting.
Dan Campbell has taken up real estate. He's got a second mortgage on his house in the blur. Dan Campbell loves the blur. I am fully believing that they are not the better team, the Lions, but they are going to conquer the blur more than the 49ers do. And I mean, again, the existential blur, not the one that races people at baseball games. So the blur is a factor. On the other side of things, I'm with you. It does seem destiny. It seems prophetic. It seems we have finally found the worthy challenger for Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson is about to match him in terms of individual awards with his second MVP, obviously, in about a week and a half's time. And if he wins the Super Bowl, which I would take him to do, obviously, over either team, to be frank, he would only trail him by a singular title. Now, that's a big deal. It's a hard thing to get, but that puts John Harbaugh in some elite company. It just feels like the Ravens moment, although it felt like the Bills moment. And that's, I'm probably less confident in my Ravens pick than I am my Lions pick, because the inevitability of Mahomes, man, like it's, I mean, the dude's he's in 6 straight AFC title games, like he is the bad guy in the movie whose head you have to rip off. If
it goes your direction, if it goes that way, is there going to be who will be the new stars heading into the Super Bowl? If Detroit beats them, who are we going to be talking about with Detroit? We know who Goff is. Is Amon-Ra St. Brown about to be a superstar, or is it the defensive end? One of these, if the Lions do it, one of these guys is about to become a superstar. Who's it going to be?
Amon-Ra is up there, and obviously he's got the outward personality, and his father's track record speaks for itself. Aiden Hutchinson's a great example. If the Lions win this game on Sunday, we're going to see him singing Billie Jean on Hard Knocks 2 years ago 4 million times between now and the Super Bowl. So I would offer Aiden. Sam Laporta, obviously, is another example. Any Lions offensive lineman, they're kind of, loud and proud, and they offer a lot of things. I think a lot of San Antonians would love to say Josh Reynolds. I will not go that far. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, big personality, and has no problem showing it. I think would kind of really take center stage and would offer. Nobody believed he'd be the rallier for everything. And Brad Holmes, their GM, I think, not from a personality standpoint, but that would be the new tree to start to get plucked apart. And that would be the work that everybody would start to be like, man, Brad Holmes really built this roster. And they should say that, to be clear, but that would be the take starting on Monday morning.
This will be my 12th Super Bowl to go to. And, there's always a couple of stories that you look for, you hope for when you go to the game. There are so many disparate stories with these 4 teams that no matter what does happen, we're in for a really good Super Bowl week. We're in for great stories from the teams coming in because they're stories we haven't heard. I mean, we're not recycling Kansas City. We're not recycling New England. We're not recycling the usual suspects. It'll be new stories every day and new stars to be found. And, new blood is always a great thing. If that doesn't
especially
suit
if it's
you,
Ravens line,
especially if you make some money on it. Well, if that doesn't suit you and you're angry, that's fine. Your team might not be there. That's fine. You can talk about it next. In with the good air, out with the bad. We are airing grievances. We are finding our sin. We are easing into a weekend. Go with us and stay here. This is R&R, and you're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on The Blitz, it is a football Friday, a championship football Friday. We're going to get you ready for the AFC, NFC championship games. It's going to be fun.
Plus, we'll talk about teams that aren't playing this weekend. John McClain will join us to talk Texans. Plus, we'll talk Cowboys with John Machota. The Blitz starts at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
We all make resolutions this time of year, and let's face it, most of them won't stick. But here's one that's not only easy to keep, but will help you feel healthier all year long. Navage. Navage provides quick, drug-free nasal relief by washing saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out of the other nostril. This time of year, when everyone is sick, Navage helps by sucking out germs, bacteria, and viruses trapped in our noses that cause us to feel miserable. And come allergy season, it does the same with dust, pollen, and other allergens. And unlike medications that can take time to help, if they're effective at all, Navage helps treat congestion symptoms in seconds flat, without drugs. This New Year's, resolve to use drug-free Navage to help you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier all year long. Ask for Navage at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, or find us online at Navage.com. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
Transforming your health isn't easy, but at the Y, you'll find friendly staff and neighbors ready to support you and cheer you on every step of the way. Find your motivation and join today. Learn more at ymcasatx.org. Find your Y this year at YMCA San Antonio. Happy New Year.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all.
In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-285-5280. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-285-5280 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-285-5280 to see if you qualify. That's 800-285-5280.
You can make the decision right now to get lasting relief from that awful joint pain for 2024. Don't go another year compromising because of that pain in your knees, shoulder. Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative non-surgical pain relief. Your body has what it needs to restore and repair that damaged joint tissue, and QC Kinetics can make it happen. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. The future of pain treatments has arrived, and QC Kinetics has tens and thousands of satisfied patients all over America. People with back pain, hip pain, any pain associated with arthritis or an injury. This is not a Band-Aid. This is a revolutionary treatment that can get you moving again, get you your life back. And best of all, it's non-surgical. If this is your year to decide to fight back against that pain, take the first step now and call QC Kinetics to get a free consultation on the calendar today. Call 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318. Locations in Hollywood Park, Westover Hills, and New Braunfels.
Eczema flaring up again? We have good news. Exoderm. If you or someone you love suffers from eczema or dermatitis, get Exoderm, the common sense answer for eczema. This stuff really does work. Exoderm contains the #1 doctor-recommended ingredient in a clean hypoallergenic cream with no harsh additives. Take back control of your eczema with affordable, fast-acting Exoderm Flare Control Cream. Exoderm. It's in the first aid aisle of your local Walmart, H-E-B, and other fine stores.
Hi, it's Jason Minix. You're listening to the home of the Cowboys, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Aren't you glad you're here at the finish line? For them's that wait till the bitter end, there's some just desserts. And today we've got it. Today, I've got some tickets for you to Willie Barcena. He will be at the Aztec next week, February the 2nd. Plan your week and take a friend. If you can't find one, I'll go with you. Get on the phone if you want to go see Willie Barcena at the Aztec. If you're calling number 4 to 656-3776 on your device, you will be going. Say hello to Edwin when you dial. You'll get to go. If you don't win them and still want to go, this is a Live Nation joint. You can get your tickets right there. Again, they'll be at the Aztec. That's Willie Barcena, a comedian of great repute, will be here next week, and you can go if you're caller number 4. You angry? You happy today? It's Friday. It's hard to be real angry on a Friday.
Yeah, I mean,
morning.
these are smaller level grievances, but grievances nonetheless. I mean, I want to deliver.
I was reading our many avenues to speak with us, to chat with us, either the chat line or the YouTube feed, and I'm not overly caffeinated. I'm not. I think I represent a lot of Spurs fans right now. That
there's a lot of people who found you to be.
They did, and I don't know why. Because I'm not normally the fire that guy. That's not me. I don't. Everybody's got a gig. I don't want to take anybody's job. But when you're in a job such as these, you set yourself up to be questioned. And I have so many questions with no answers forthcoming. And it's not like I expect the Spurs to give me an answer, but I do expect to see some things on the court that we're just not seeing. And what reinforced everything, and I want to say it again, if you didn't hear Sean Elliott yesterday with Joe and Jason on the Blitz, go to sasportstar.com and listen to Sean talk about the team, his former coach, young Wemby, the need for vets, and all the differences and problems that the Spurs are going through. And it's not going to make you feel any better. You're not going to feel like there's light at the end of the tunnel because it feels darker today than it did a year ago.
That's fair.
Supposed to be. Not a grievance.
You have a grievance.
Not a grievance, an observation that I think is being proven by more appropriate and accurate by the day.
I've got some then. Let me rile you up a little bit. Okay. These are all smaller level because it's Friday. You know what I mean? These are more like large level annoyances that maybe aren't quite grievance level. By the way, thank you to everyone who offered input or advice, I guess, on the interchangeability of washer and dryer doors.
Oh,
Take a
yeah.
look.
How'd it work?
I haven't tried this yet, but our washer door cannot be adjusted. But the dryer door seemingly can. So at least, half of the solution is available. But
do you have the appropriate screwdriver? Because it's not a Phillips. It's that little weird one with the.
Well, I've got the interchangeable heads, whatever. But like, is it really worth fixing half a problem? You know what I mean? Like, at this point, it's just kind of like I just live here. This is my filth. I'm good. Ironically, so.
You're already sounding like an old married man already, man. You're young at this. You already sound like you've been doing this 20 years.
On the subject of locking mechanisms, a grievance of mine, you are not a recliner person, very famously so. But for non-electric recliners, because some are powered recliners, right? Like you just kind of move incrementally.
With money, yeah.
I don't like that there isn't. I want the ability to lock my recline degree. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like that. Well, yeah, because generally the only place where it remains permanent is when you go all the way. But I don't want to be reclined that much.
Yours doesn't ratchet like tick, 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 tick.
No, like it's
like
it's not the like 1940s, handle on the side.
Well, forgive me, I'm not up on the latest lazy boy technology.
I mean, it's like, it's sort of a it's got tension and pressure. Like if you lean back, it'll hold, but you have to exert some sort of physical force there. You know what I'm saying? If you relax, it'll.
Are you an all the way back guy, or you're like halfway?
No, I don't want it to go all the way back.
Okay.
And if I want to nap, I'm obviously going to slip into a state of subconsciousness that
slide if you.
Yeah, then I'll be napping and just like cock me forward, and I don't want that. So I want the ability to lock the angle that I am at on my recliner. I do not have that. Right?
It's called a couch. It's flat.
No, but that's a permanent lock. That's a permanent angle that cannot be adjusted. If you're on a couch, you're either 90 degrees or 180 degrees. I don't want that. I want somewhere in between.
That's a worthy want.
Next up for me, you mentioned the methods of chat. This might be a generational thing, and if so, you're wrong. I'm not a fan of email. I don't like email. I have zero problems with being contacted, like in any way, shape, or form. You want to text me, you want to DM me, you want to Slack me, you want to Discord me, you want to, send me even a voicemail. I would tolerate more. Email feels so like I can't answer emails from my phone. It's like you email me. It's okay. My computer.
Well, what's the difference between an email and a text?
I don't know. There's a more casual, like, kind of flavor to text messaging. I have zero issues being texted, but emails just feel so pedantic. Who enjoys the process of emails? I like my inbox to be clean. Unopened? I don't have any unopened, but I do leave some. Well, I do leave some there as reminders and placeholders. But it's a chore. It's a digital chore. Nobody enjoys the state of email. So miss me with your email stuff.
I appreciate when I see an email or a text and I just, you know what? I'm not going to reply to that. I get a little endorphin boost. Just a little makes me feel a little bit of power. Just a little bit of when I go, no, I'm not going to reply to that. Not that I don't want to. It's just I'm going to choose my free will, and I'm just not going to reply to that. I'm not even going to open it.
Do you have a grievance?
My grievance on a Friday,
my grievance is that you don't even have a real grievance.
I mean, really don't. I told you, I woke up this morning. I've been so upset this week. It's just been a tough one because part of it is my focus has changed from Cowboys and the all-encompassing need to get to a Super Bowl, and those desperate hours are gone. So my focus then turned to what's my other priority in life. I went from Aggies and they fired their coach, and it cost us $80 million to head into the offseason. And then we have the expected collapse yet again. So what's next?
Somehow worse than the expectation, right?
And then what's next? Okay, now let's shine a light on the Spurs season. So I think
the super frustrating one.
Yeah, there's a lot of us who have been on this steady decline of what's next? How is this fandom gonna burn me? So last night I was kind of looking around the world to see if there's anything else to kind of pique my interest in a competitive way, and I turned on the Rugby Six Nations Netflix series.
Okay.
Just to, the pageantry and the circumstance of a sport that I quite frankly don't understand.
Sure. Parachuting in.
I watched, I turned to my wife and I go, I wonder if these guys make any money. I wonder if the professional rugby world is a high paid, drive a Lamborghini and be world famous with good haircuts and good clothes kind of thing. I don't know. But it seems they're playing in front of big crowds. And I thought, this is a big deal. They're playing at Twickenham, and there's 80,000 people here. This is a worthy thing. These guys are superstars. And then they rolled out all their dudes, and you're kind of meeting their roster. And I was wholly unimpressed with the athleticism that I was watching. I felt like these were just a bunch of dudes that got off work. Like, I know that this is hard. I know it is. I'm not saying it's not. But I just felt like, if as an ugly American, if I took your standard college football team and just pick one, and rugby team, I need 5 of you types, your linemen. I need 3 of you defensive back types, and I need a running back to be whatever their number 10 is. I don't know enough of, and I think I would give me a couple months. I think they would be at least athletically superior. They'd be faster, bigger, stronger than what I was watching.
So your grievance is that you weren't entertained enough?
No, my grievance is I'm an ugly American, and every time I watch something that's international, I go, if we tried. And I felt like this one I was justified.
This is a weird grievance. I don't think this is a grievance, dude. This is a thought. This is just a thought that you had.
But I didn't want to voice it because it sounds so awful. Like, this dude looks like an out-of-work plumber, and he's a superstar. I chose the wrong sport. And then you look at those bulldog guys with no ears, and you go, oh.
I have another grievance. We have a far too large lack of digital board games. The board game experience is a really fun one, right? Everybody loves when a board game's hot and everyone's into it. You're playing Monopoly. People are screaming, "Oh, how dare you buy Park Place? I wanted Pennsylvania Avenue." Right? Board games, the vibes, super fun. As the father of 2 boys, I'm sure you've played many a game of Monopoly.
Shoots and ladders are part of a game that you're probably playing
right
now. Candyland.
Why do we not have a digital portal for this?
Because they're stupid.
Why can't we? No, but why can't we have an ongoing game of Monopoly? Why can't you and I, Jason and Joe, have an ongoing? Like, why can't there be an app? And we have an ongoing game of Monopoly, and that we've been playing for like 3 years. You know what I mean? Like, why can't that be a thing?
How many people you want to know play Monopoly for 3 straight years? That's a game you best out once a year, and you realize, why we don't play this? Because it goes on too long.
No, but that's my exact point. If it's a slow burn, if it's like, hey, Rob, you're up on Monopoly, it's your turn. You can open the app, and you can kind of, when you have time, and check it out. Like, that would be kind of cool.
This is an opportunity for us to get to know RJ Ochoa, because I know RJ's history. I know that RJ has played Words with Friends with famous people. And that's
true.
One of those things. Words with Friends is what you're describing, where these games go on for days and weeks, and it's your turn.
Right.
What happens inevitably is I start out, and then I'll go back to Words with Friends after about 6 months, and there'll be like 9 unfinished games. Because I'll be waiting on another guy, and then I'll start another one, and I'll start another one, and I never finish any of them, and the Words with Friends police come and get me, and then I disappear for a while. So I think the problem is there's too much going on to do the long-term game.
Well, I'm not suggesting do this with random people. There has to be some semblance of trust between you and your cohorts.
I can't find 4 people that want to play Monopoly with me.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, in this hypothetical, where it's you, me, Jason, and Joe, we commit and we say, hey, we're going to play Monopoly here. We're all going to have the app on our phone. Everyone gets 24 hours to make a move when it's your turn or whatever the case may be. And, whenever you get a chance, whenever you're playing with your phone, you look at it, hey, okay, I'm the thimble. It's my turn. Let me roll the dice. And, I hit community chest, baby. Let's go. Like, that would be cool to just have an ongoing game of Monopoly.
No, I need a tangible, metallic little car in my hand. I can't just have.
Are you the car? Is that your preferred token?
I prefer the Scotty, the dog.
Oh, that's lame.
There's wheelbarrows that people choose.
The wheelbarrows
you're not
also
a thimble
lame.
Guy.
You got to go race car or battleship.
Well,
those are the only ones in
car?
my mind.
I just said car.
No, you didn't say that was your preferred one. You said Scotty or the wheelbarrow.
Oh yeah,
but the problem with the battleship is so thin. It's hard. It so often falls over.
And why did you choose Monopoly as your game of choice? Because that's not my favorite.
It could be anything. It could be anything. It could be
Risk.
Candyland. It could be Life, Risk, Clue. Imagine a game of Clue, and then you're playing that game like in a somewhat state of permanence, and you're like, hey man, have you opened the app? I think it was Jason. That'd be fun.
How much time do you have?
I mean, I'm not saying I have all the time in the world because I don't, but it would be nice to when you have that pocket 5 minutes when you're playing on your phone, you're sitting on your recliner that you can't lock in a certain place watching your weird sumo show or whatever. And you're like, let me bust on my phone. It's my turn to play Shoots and Ladders. It's my turn to play, whatever. That'd be cool.
I want to implore everybody to, talk to someone about your development of a board game. I think there's something there. And I would lay money there actually is one that you can go play right now. It'll cost you a penny or two.
What's your favorite board game while we're here?
Bar none, there are 2 that we still play. Risk is a game that we play every Thanksgiving. It's one of those, it takes a long time. It goes all weekend long. And I always take Irkutsk. The other one is the one growing up, we played the Game of Life. It was when you spin the wheel, you You got married, you had kids, it made you feel like you're an adult, little car, little peg people. Those are the two that I remember, although I haven't played life in 40 years.
I loved Trouble.
Oh.
Always great when you do the, Trouble's great. Hungry Hippos. Jacob says in the chat here in Cincy. By the way, San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 getting some play in, is it the Queen City?
It is the Queen City. Go get some chili with some
here in Cincy, there's a bar where board games are played. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but take that established community that people clearly thrive on and take it in a two-dimensional world.
Can I be
put
the
it
digital
on
banker?
the internet?
Is there a digital banker where I can pocket some cash if things get low?
I'm told. You know what? And you could have that. Dude, think about tax season. You hire some sort of, financial firm to run your tax system, whatever, and they game it up. And you could actually imagine it. You could put real money instead of having everyone throws in that's what I'm saying. But like everyone throws in like $10, $50, whatever, and the game sort of distributes your monopoly money in certain derivations based on that, and you win. That would be fun. I feel like we've just invented like a Smash concept here.
We will we'll huddle up over the weekend and come up with our own app.
Wow, I just developed something remarkable.
Spurs
I'm really astounded at myself.
Every now and then it just falls out. The Spurs win tonight. I think they did.
2.5-point favorites. Yes. Wemby, if I set the over-under at 27.5.
What's going to go on with the Ochoa family this weekend?
Tomorrow is a chill day.
Oh,
Just
good.
Relax.
It's one
nice
of those.
Chill.
Yeah, it's a transition kind of.
Well,
weekend.
we as in you and I, we leave for Vegas next Sunday. So next week is the lay the ground, make sure the house is set up for the wife, the kid, the 2 dogs, for the week to unfold after that.
We're going to keep you entertained all weekend long by providing you live play-by-play sports. It'll start tonight. We got some Big Ten basketball headed your direction. Wisconsin, Michigan State tomorrow. Basketball all day long. If you're a North Carolina fan, we got it for you. Don't forget, we got every game you could possibly desire on Sunday. We start early and go all day. All brought to you by Flight by Yingling. Spurs got to start tonight with a back-to-back. They got the Trailblazers tonight and the T-Wolves tomorrow. We hope a 500 output by the time we meet again. Ravens-Lions on one side of the docket. I say 49ers-Ravens. What do you think? Tell the Blitz. They'll be here at 2, chock full of guests. Greeny's around the corner in Rome. Well, he's hanging on a vine. He'll be here in a couple hours. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Eat appropriate foods. Dance like nobody's watching. And we'll be back again on Monday. Bye, RJ.
Peace.
The Sports Star Boys are headed to Vegas for the big game.